The talented game developer, Jayu, is unexpectedly pulled into the world she created, God's Chessboard, by her channel manager, Oswald. Forced to live as Teresa, Jayu must complete a series of missions to please the constellations. However, her appearance throws Oswald's streaming system off track, altering the entire preset storyline. Can Jayu survive the destined trials and rewrite her own story? Join Nezuko Recap and follow this villainous BJ on a thrilling journey. In a luxurious room, nobles are gossiping. Miss Libby is back. Did you see Miss Teresa's expression? She looks extremely uncomfortable. Her heart must be in turmoil. Her half-sister, who is thought to be dead, has returned alive. It's obvious now who will inherit the Squire family. The man continues, not realizing Miss Teresa is standing right in front of him. With her notorious reputation, it's only a matter of time before she's abandoned by Duke Squire. When someone next to him gives him a signal, he immediately changes his tone and says flatteringly, Miss Teresa, no, Miss Teresa, you must be so happy that your long-lost sister has returned, right? Teresa, hiding half her face with a fan, shrugs and replies, of course. He is immediately stunned by her response. What did you say? Teresa calmly replies, I said, I'm happy my sister is back. He stubbornly forces a smile. Haha, but you look quite uncomfortable. No longer gentle, Teresa changes her tone. Are you saying you disapprove of my sister's return? Viscount? If so, should I report this to my father? Hearing this, he frantically defends himself. No, that's not what I meant, Miss Teresa. I misspoke. Please forgive me, Miss Teresa. As soon as Teresa finishes speaking, she turns to leave, and a system notification pops up. The Constellation Ashen Passage has donated 100 gold. Supreme Ash Giver, a refreshing comment. The Constellation Romantic Passage is cheering for you. The Constellation Plot Twist Maniac is applauding. The Constellation Face Judge is getting emotional. Teresa is helpless as the constellations call her by nicknames like the Transcendent and Peerless Influencer. Dylan is the BJ. This is a one-of-a-kind reverse harem game that will capture your heart, God's Chessboard. Libby is very surprised by her character's setup. She thought she was just an ordinary girl, only to find out she's a duke's daughter, returning to the arms of the family that had been searching for her. But in this huge mansion, heart-fluttering events with handsome men await her. The heart-fluttering begins with the gentleness of Damian West, a commoner who serves as the student council vice president. Next is the genius professor of Valhalla, Elijah Bernstein. She also can't escape the arms of Clyde Willow, the heir to the Willow family. The final trump card is the ruler of the empire, Emperor Yuji Rodrigo. But that happiness is short-lived, as her jealous older sister is plotting to ruin her life. Her terrible sister, Teresa, always hates her and tries to get rid of her. And this is what troubles Duke Squire. He orders angrily, I can't take it anymore. Even if she is my daughter, take her away. Teresa is abandoned by her father. He leaves with Libby, ignoring her desperate cries from behind. Afterward, Libby receives everyone's love and gets her happy ending. The author of this story, a girl, feels uneasy right after finishing the ending. The villain died too quickly again this time. God's Chessboard is a reverse harem game she had been developing for several months. Thanks to her dedication, the game's quality is decent, but the villain is dealt with too easily, so there's not much drama. She wonders, why do they always drop like flies? Did I create the characters too simply? As soon as she says this, she immediately opens the character settings. Teresa Squire, strong sense of jealousy, becomes violent when things don't go her way, believes in supremacism, domineering and tyrannical. After reading through it, she can only give a bitter smile. Looking back, she poured all the bad traits into this character. This isn't even a third-rate supporting character. She continues to study the script, then asks herself again, should I have added more scenes of Duke Squire despising Teresa? After all, a villain can't receive family love, right? Honestly, it's a bit funny to say that. So, for someone to be loved, does it mean someone else has to lack affection? The girl is about to continue writing, but her hand suddenly freezes because she herself has never been loved by her family. Honestly, she sympathizes with Teresa. The girl stretches. She thinks to herself, I'm so exhausted, always thinking about these useless things. Then she continues her work, placing her hand on the mouse and moving it. I'll just check it one more time before going home. The girl opens the poster to admire it. She sighs internally. I'm so tired of looking at this opening screen. Then, a question suddenly flashes in her mind. But it's a bit strange. Was Teresa always in the opening screen? And why does it feel like there are more male leads? Suddenly, her vision goes black, and she feels dizzy. A moment later, the scene has changed. The animation is still loading. Just then, the Duke's voice rings out, "Wake up." The call successfully wakes Teresa. She is covered in sweat. The girl sits up, wipes the sweat from her face, and asks blankly, "What's wrong?" The Duke furrows his brow and asks, "Are you awake now?" Soon, the final image finishes loading. Teresa exclaims in surprise, "Duke Raoul?" The room is like a scene from a movie. A stranger with a familiar face, a cliché line, yet doesn't feel unfamiliar. The girl can't believe her eyes. This is ridiculous. It must be a dream. Yeah, just a dream. If not, how could this terrible thing possibly? As soon as the girl gets out of bed, the system starts displaying text. Choose a channel name to start streaming. Channel name, Villainess BJ. The girl stares blankly at the text floating in the air. System window? What does this mean? Villainous BJ? Before the girl can figure it out, the word stream starting pop up. The constellations have joined the stream. This is the theme of God's Chessboard, the game the girl was developing. It was never set up for the girl to stream like a YouTube channel, but at this point, the girl really didn't expect this. Many constellations are entering the stream, just like in the so-called God's Chessboard she created. The constellation Face Judge offers a round of applause for the BJ's visuals. As she stares blankly, a powerful voice suddenly interrupts her thoughts. "Teresa, not only did you get dead drunk over a small matter like a broken engagement, but you also dare to be disrespectful to your father. I may have agreed to it, but isn't the reason for the broken engagement entirely your fault?" After he finishes speaking, he slaps Teresa hard across the face. The Duke continues to scold her. "That young girl you treated like a slave earnestly begged me to call off the engagement. Do you know how disgraceful that is?" The girl still thinks it's just a dream, but suddenly a vision appears behind her, and a voice says, "No, this is not a dream." Because now she seems to have grasped the situation. "We should have a proper talk, shouldn't we? I'm a channel manager. You can call me Oswald," the man says confidently, sitting comfortably in a chair. But the girl doesn't catch his name and asks blankly, "Oh, what? Who are you?" "Not a character I created. Is that bastard the one who dragged me into this game?" He reassures her, "Don't worry, I'm just proposing a good deal to you." He shows a list of missions. Achieve the true ending on hard mode. Then he continues to explain, while the reward is great, failure will result in a severe penalty. "Is that all you've got?" Suddenly, she remembers her family. "I'm so disappointed in you. Is it that hard to please your stepfather? Don't worry about your birthday. You know mom has to take care of the little ones, right? Why don't you try to get along with your siblings? Why does mom have to be the only one to suffer?" Oswald continues to explain the rules. A BJ who can't play properly will be sent to hell. For you, Shin Jae-woo, hell means endlessly repeating your childhood. Just imagining it sends shivers down your spine. Well, don't worry too much. After all, this is only what happens if you fail. God's Chessboard mission. Achieve the true ending on hard mode. Reward. End the stream. Failure. Death. Shin Jae-woo is utterly shocked by Oswald's words. The scene switches to the Duke's office. He asks helplessly, "How is she?" The butler quickly replies, "She'll be fine after some rest." The Duke, frustrated, holds his forehead and sighs. "I didn't expect her to faint again right after waking up." The butler immediately replies, "That's due to accumulated stress." The Duke sighs and asks further, "Was the broken engagement that shocking?" He recalls his daughter's range of emotions upon hearing he had agreed to the annulment. Father agreed to the Count's annulment? "You didn't even ask me. I know you don't like me, but I didn't think you would hurt me like this." After saying that, Teresa fainted in the Duke's arms. Thinking back on it now, the Duke feels remorse. As a father, was I also being immature, arbitrarily canceling my adult daughter's engagement, even though her fiancé had earnestly pleaded with me? Feeling guilty, the Duke orders, "Lift Teresa's confinement." The butler immediately complies. Yes. The Duke further reminds him, when she wakes up, bring her some of her favorite snacks. Meanwhile, Jayu is arguing fiercely with Oswald. "I don't need it." Even so, he stubbornly introduces shop Dream Ticket 1 billion can grant any wish once. Jayu still refuses flatly. "I said I don't need it." Only Jayu is uninterested. Everyone else, the constellations, are unusually excited and leave comments. Stop copying the ad. Oswald continues, "But it can grant you anything you want." Jayu, exhausted, holds her forehead. "Enough talk. Send me back to my original world. That's all I want." As soon as she finishes speaking, Oswald appears behind her and whispers, "That can only be done with a dream ticket." Startled, Jayu turns around. Then he jumps back onto the chair, as if he never moved. "How surprising. I thought you'd surely agree. Isn't this a great deal? Since you created all the characters of God's chessboard, witnessing, achieving a true ending with one of them should be very easy for you." Hearing this, Ju yells, "It's the exact opposite, you bastard. The heroine, Libby, is loved by everyone just for breathing, while Teresa is a villainess created to make Libby stand out. No matter what Jayu does, that truth won't change. Because that's exactly what she wrote, a world that revolves only around the heroine, with all the love focused entirely on her. A worldview created through countless sleepless nights can't just collapse easily. Teresa, achieving an ending with one of the capture targets is impossible. Is this really the only way to go back?" Jayu thinks to herself. Oswald observes her, then speaks again. "Finally, you've lost that uncomfortably calm expression. You're showing an expression I like. Don't think too hard. If you see the true ending and finish the stream safely, you'll become a part of this world. But if that's not so appealing, then collect a dream ticket worth 1,000,000,001, and then return to your original world. If you can't even do that, wouldn't it be really disappointing? Natural disasters, human calamities, betrayal, and revenge, after you've satisfied the constellations with bloody and violent themes. You're the first protagonist of my romance channel. Please don't forget that I sincerely wish for your success. So I hope you can become a BJ of a major channel, Miss Shinjae Woo." After Oswald finishes speaking, the vision disappears. Jayu also wakes up in Miss Teresa's luxurious room. A maid rushes over. "Miss Teresa, you're awake. I took the liberty of changing you into your nightgown because I thought you'd be uncomfortable. I also cleaned up all the bottles." The maid was about to say more, but swallowed her words, intimidated by Jayu's sharp gaze. She immediately apologizes. "I'm sorry. I was rude. I'll go get the wine right away. Please forgive me. It was just an accident." Joe, not bothering with the maid, asks, "Where's my father?" "The Duke is likely in his office, milady." Hearing this, Jayu gets out of bed. The maid hastily follows. "Miss Teresa, where are you going dressed like that?" "Miss Teresa, the Constellation Romantic Passage has donated 100 gold. When will the male lead appear?" Jayu glances at it and curses under her breath. "Male lead my ass. This isn't even easy mode, it's hard mode. If you die in hard mode, it's game over. But trying to capture a male lead as Teresa is hopeless. That being the case, if Jayu wants to live, the only thing to do is go to the Duke." Jayu immediately runs to the office, shouting, "Father, I have something to tell you." The Duke, somewhat surprised by her appearance, immediately corrects her. "Where do you think you are? Running in here in your nightgown. Donovan, you may leave. I don't get a day of peace with you around. What tricks are you trying to pull now?" Jayu ignores those words and gets straight to the point. "I saw Libby recently." The Duke is stunned. "What did you say?" She immediately replies, "She looks exactly like my stepmother when she was young. The child who went missing when she was only 2, my sister Libby, is alive." The Duke quickly sends people to bring Libby back. Soon, the girl is brought to the mansion that we've arrived. "Welcome back." Under everyone's expectant gazes, Libby steps down. The Duke and Duchess can't believe their eyes. Libby looks confused as she is led into the mansion by the butler. Upon seeing her, the Duchess immediately runs over and hugs her tightly. The people around also begin to exclaim, "Oh my, it's really Miss Libby. I can't believe she's back safely. Thank God for bringing her back." A few days before that, on the day Jayu was pulled here, she immediately ran to the office to tell the Duke that her missing sister, Libby, was alive, thus changing the script. The Constellation Romantic Feast tries to stop her. "Why are you doing something that puts you at a disadvantage? After your sister returns, you'll be treated like an outcast." Jayu knows it's normal to think that way, because it's true, but she doesn't care what happens after Libby returns. But before that, Jayu made a condition. "I'll tell you where I saw her, so please allow me to live in the dorms at Valhalla." Valhalla Academy of Magic, the famous academy that plays a major role in God's chessboard, is where Teresa can meet not just one, but all 3 male leads. It's the perfect excuse to escape the ducal mansion. The comments start buzzing again. Is she trying to run away because she sees too many death flags at home? Will a male lead appear now? I want to see the BJ in a school uniform. I bet it'll look great. This is a deal, a very Teresa-like deal. Raoul knows better than anyone that she has no reason to lie in this situation. The Duke asks in surprise, "You're using your father's grief to ask for an exchange, but he doesn't finish a sentence and instead decides immediately, 'Fine, I'll prepare a dorm room for you. However, the official agreement will only take effect after I've verified the truth. In the meantime, you stay put. If Libby really does return, I'll throw a party. And that party really happened. Everyone is congratulating the Duke and Duchess that, oh my, she really looks just like the Duchess. She was so emotional when she hugged Miss Libby. I couldn't help but cry too. I bet there wasn't a single person who wasn't moved by that scene. The whole party is very lively, except for Jayu, who is just sitting bored in a corner. After slapping that blonde guy in Chapter 1, seeing him in person isn't all that great. I should have put more effort into the opening scene. So dramatic. The constellations start typing again. The constellation Mr. Know-It-All has donated 100 gold. She won't forgive anyone who goes too far, just like that noble who mocked the BJ earlier. The constellation MBDI is Science has donated 100 gold. Jayu is surprised. The constellations believe in pseudoscience too? How would they know my MBDI? Mr. Know-It-All has donated 100 gold. The Earth streaming channel is the most famous, so there's no way we wouldn't know. Jayu is even more surprised. Earth streaming? Is this a party where no one eats? Will a male lead appear at this party? Are you going to look for that dog again? Jayu reads the comments and interacts with everyone. I'll answer one question at a time, but I won't say the most important things. She thinks to herself. Regardless of the constellation's expectations, Jayu has no intention of pursuing anyone. Her goal is the hidden ending paradise, a fan service ending added for veteran players of God's Chessboard. The condition is to eliminate all risks that lead to the male lead's bad endings, so it's difficult to achieve. But right now, it's the only way for her to survive. The only true ending that can be achieved without getting involved with any of the male leads. Just then, the Duke raises his glass again and says, "Everyone, your attention, please. My beloved daughter has finally returned. Tonight, please eat and drink to your heart's content." The nobles start a crowd around Libby, flattering her. "Miss Libby, you look beautiful tonight. Welcome back." Everyone is busy chatting and praising Libby, and no one notices Miss Teresa's presence. But Jayu isn't wallowing in self-pity over it. She's busy paying attention to these troublesome system matters. The Constellation Drama Maniac has donated 100 gold. Aren't you jealous? I bet you're burning with inferiority inside. Jayu reads it and immediately replies, "Your personality is just like your name. There's no reason to be jealous." Jayu thinks she's the heroine Jayu, created by pouring in many wishes. After all, that position was never mine to begin with. Suddenly, someone approaches Jayu and speaks. "I don't know what you're muttering about." Jayu is a little surprised. The boy continues to question, "What are you plotting?" Despite his young age, the boy shows an unfriendly attitude towards Jayu. This is Duchess Rosen's youngest son, named Giuseppe Squire, a legendary magical genius who, at only 13, is already highly regarded at the academy. Jayu thinks, why is he picking a fight with me? Seeing that she doesn't answer, Giuseppe points at Jayu and shouts, I heard everything. You were arguing with that old man earlier. Stop pretending to be nice. You think I don't know you hate Sister Libby?" Despite Giuseppe's extreme rudeness, Jayu just sighs and replies, "It's sister, not you, Giuseppe." The boy jumps up again. "What did you say?" Seeing that the boy seems stubborn, she moves closer to him. Jayu had just been down to talk to Giuseppe at eye level, and the boy's cheeks were already flushing red. What? At that moment, Jayu is suddenly reminded of her siblings in the real world. Do you really think Dad will acknowledge you if you do this? You'll never be a part of this family. Thinking about it, Jayu doesn't hate Squire at all. She even finds him quite cute. Although Giuseppe's voice is still loud, his tone has changed slightly. "What did you mean by that?" Jayu slowly replies, "Giuseppe, you're really like Teresa's little brother." The boy stammers, "What?" Jayu explains again, "I mean, you're exactly my little brother." This statement provokes Giuseppe again, and he shouts, "Shut up. Since when were you my sister? I don't like you at all." As the two are talking, a woman's figure suddenly appears. Duchess Rosen steps forward and gently reminds them both, "There are guests here. What's with all the noise?" Upon seeing her, Jayu immediately recognizes her. She's here for Giuseppe. "So you're with Teresa now. Go back to your seat." Giuseppe quickly replies yes and runs into the party. Duchess Rosen watches the boy, then sighs that child is still too young. "Did Giuseppe make you uncomfortable?" "I'm sorry." Jayu quickly replies, "You don't need to apologize, mother." Hearing this, the Duchess smiles. "Is that so? You look so down, what are you worried about? For instance, has Libby's return made you uncomfortable?" Although she is still smiling, her words are like a sharp knife pointed straight at Jayu. Jayu had spent a lot of effort shaping Rosen's character. On the outside, she seems kind and gentle, but she is a mother willing to stain her hands with blood for her daughter's sake. If she thinks Jayu is a threat to Libby, she won't hesitate to attack her. The Duchess no longer has a gentle expression, replaced by an emotionless, cold gaze. Teresa, tell me honestly, what do you think of Libby? But Jayu isn't scared at all. She won't go down without a fight. Jayu also replies in a friendly and polite manner. Don't worry, mother. I plan to leave the ducal house. Duchess Rosen asks in surprise, what do you mean by that? She answers bluntly, stepmother wins. I couldn't become the heir after all, huh? I've already registered for the Valhalla dorms and won't be coming home until graduation. I'll be giving up the position of heir soon enough. With that, Jayu leaves, leaving Duchess Rosen standing there. A few days later, Jayu is cleaning her room. She scolds loudly, what are you all doing? At this rate, do you think you can finish organizing the room today? Move the furniture over there and make sure to clean it thoroughly. Just then, a maid rushes over. Milady, the new carpet you ordered has arrived. Jayu asks, it's made of the highest quality wool, right? The maid quickly replies, yes. Then lay it out carefully. Decorating Libby's room all morning has made Jayu hungry. The constellation Seeking BJ Mukbang has donated 100 gold. Please eat something. If you eat, I'll donate 500 gold. Jayu reads the comment and thinks, my goal is the hidden ending, but I should also collect as much money as possible, just in case. With that thought, she immediately beckons you wait. What was that supporting character's name again? Penny, can you bring me some snacks? Hearing her question, the maids all freeze, looking at her suspiciously. Jayu senses it too. Why did the atmosphere suddenly change? Do they think Teresa is going to torture a maid again? But she doesn't pay it much mind. Jayu adds, I'll be in the study as usual. Bring it there when it's ready. Afterward, Jayu turns and leaves at S.O. This is the life of a villainess. Jayu goes to the study alone. After going inside, she immediately closes the door and then opens the status window. A brief profile of Teresa Squire appears. Miss of the Squire family, 21 years old. Magic level, B. Intelligence, C+. Mana, A. Jayu does this because she wants to confirm her suspicion is correct. If there's a shop, there must be a status window. Looks like I was right. It's exactly as I set it up, huh? The constellations are curious about what the BJ is thinking. Jayu immediately replies to the comment. I'm thinking about Teresa's settings. As she says this, Teresa tries to use magic again. A small flame flickers to life like a candle. Although Teresa isn't smart, she makes up for it with abundant mana. A reluctant mage. Even Jayu has to admire this bonus setting. The constellations laugh at the BJ's innocent expression. The constellation, the spoiled one, really likes her reaction to the world of magic. Jayu is secretly pleased. I can really use magic without practicing. The constellation Mr. Know-It-All nods. With that much mana, it'd be strange if you couldn't use magic. Jayu immediately sets a goal. So the only stat I should focus on is intelligence. The constellations are curious about what the BJ is saying. Jayu starts studying the books. In the world of this divine game, magic is formula-based. Building formulas is like math, and the higher the magic level, the more complex the required formulas. The magic books already have complete logical deductions, and if Jayu puts her mind to it, she could achieve amazing things. The constellation, Sorry I'm Bad at Math, has donated 100 gold. What are you talking about, nerd? Jayu answers while reading. Basically, having a lot of mana doesn't mean you're good at using magic. To use high-level magic, you need to read spell books and increase your knowledge. But because Teresa hates books more than anything, she never shone despite her talent. The constellation conspiracy theorist smiles with interest and comments. Is the BJ hiding her true power? If she raises her knowledge, she might save the world. Jayu immediately refuses, not interested. I just need to raise it to at least AB+ level. While talking with the constellations, a maid unexpectedly pushes the door open. Miss Teresa, I brought your food. Jayu waves her hand. Just put it there. The maid panics. Where should I put it? The young girl closes her eyes in fear. I'm sorry. I'm so clumsy. But instead of the expected outburst, Jayu replies gently, It's okay. You did a good job, Penny. After hearing this, the maid looks at her even more emotionally. Just then, the head maid, Miranda, also comes forward from behind. Miss Teresa, is there something that displeases you? Jayu thinks to herself, what's she doing here? But she just answers the question perfunctorily and continues reading. That's good. However, Miranda adds, I didn't expect you to remember the name of a common maid, my lady. Since she is a maid you've taken notice of, I will personally oversee her training. Jayu was once again confused. Taken notice of? What on earth is she talking about? Immediately after, the maid's whispers reached Jiyu's ears that I'm so jealous. What are you jealous of? You should just go serve Lady Libby. You must be new here. Listen up. Lady Teresa never remembers anyone's name, especially the maids. She wouldn't recognize their faces even if she saw them for 10 years. But there are two people she remembered from the very beginning, the head maid Miranda and the butler Donovan. This is what we call a natural instinct. She's not stupid. The truth is she only remembers capable people. The Constellation conspiracy theorist left a message. She's been playing a grand game of chess all along. Is she planning to take control of everything? Jayu wearily held her forehead. What on earth am I doing? Sunlight streamed through the window, filling the small room. Head maid Miranda had not left yet, and she continued, by the way, Lady Teresa, the Duke asked me to give you a message. He asks if you would be willing to dine with him in the dining room tonight. Jayu was slightly startled. How sudden. He never cared if I came or not. But just a second later, she understood the issue. He remembered. February 20th. Today was Teresa's birthday, the day she officially turned 22. Teresa soon arrived at the dining room, and the Duke's voice rang out, You're here, Teresa. Come and sit. Teresa was quite surprised by the Duke's attitude today. Her seat was placed far away from everyone else. Even so, Teresa sat down and then spoke. It seems Father is in a good mood today. This is absurd, but I'm the one who changed the original story. The Duke quickly replied to her, Today is a very happy day. The Duke's words made Teresa slightly expectant. But then he announced, Libby's blood test results came out today. This sentence immediately jolted Teresa from her dream. She gave a bitter smile. I knew it. There's no way they would remember Teresa's birthday. Duchess Rosen continued, I still can't believe it. This is truly the model of a happy family. But without Teresa, Giuseppe also asked happily, Sister Libby, can you come to Valhalla next semester? It was these words that made Teresa realize her daily isolation and indifference. The Duke gently asked Libby, what do you want as a homecoming gift? This meant it was another forgotten birthday. The Constellation Kingdom Builder was very disappointed. The Constellation Taste of Ashes left out of boredom. The Constellation Lover of Romance asked, When on earth is the male lead going to appear? All of this proved that Teresa was superfluous. But even so, Jayu still wanted to make a request to her father. Can I ask for a gift too? The hardest part is coming. There's something I want to buy. If you could give me some money. Before she could finish, the Duke cut her off. We'll talk about that later. On a happy day like today, I don't want to get angry. Jayu put down her fork and replied coolly, Then when would be a good time to talk to you, Father? Do you ever have time to listen to me at all? She had only said 2 sentences, and the Duke was already angry. He slammed his hand on the table and loudly reprimanded, Teresa, your sister just came back, and you're already complaining about needing money for some trivial matter. This situation immediately set the comments section ablaze. The Constellation Ashen Channel urged her to say it was her birthday. The Constellation Kingdom Builder criticized, Why not throw the steak in his face? The Constellation Lover of Romance, said the male lead. That would save her, and then there would be a grand party. To be honest, Jayu didn't want to say it herself and do something so pathetic. This scene was no different from Jiyu's world. Your sister has a competition. Do you think your birthday is important right now? Don't make things hard for Mom. No matter what, they all said that such a day wasn't important at all. Another scene of the unloved eldest daughter. Jayu lamented inwardly. If I had known I would transmigrate as Teresa, I wouldn't have written this setting. But then, Jayu decided to say it anyway. Today is my birthday. I didn't want to trouble Father, since you wouldn't remember anyway. The Duke immediately accused her. How old are you now? Still blaming your father over a birthday? As soon as he finished speaking, the Duke felt uneasy. Perhaps that was a bit too harsh. If she causes a scene here, Jayu had no intention of refuting this criticism either. She stood up and continued, I think I've said something I shouldn't have. I'll take my leave first. Letting me go will be enough of a birthday gift for me. The way the Duke looked at her seemed to have changed slightly, but he himself failed to notice. Even in such a miserable scene, Jayu could only blame herself. Who can I blame? I wrote it myself. Was he angry because Teresa talked back? Just as she was about to leave, the Duke spoke again. I don't intend to let something like that be a gift. Hearing this, Jayu couldn't help but be surprised. What? The Duke became unprecedentedly gentle. He said, if you're tired, go back to your room first. I'll send you a blank check. If you need anything, use it to pay. This information shocked Jayu even more. A blank check? She replied in confusion. No, that's a bit. The Duke had no intention of letting her continue, and he went on, you are a daughter of the Squall family. Do you think a blank check is too much? He was certainly serious. A check from the Squall family could buy an entire mine. If it were for Libby, it would be nothing, but why give it to Teresa, a professional swindler? The Duke hadn't stopped yet. He added, if you really hate it, then refuse. Jayu was very decisive. She immediately replied, no, I'll gladly accept it. Thank you, father. After speaking, Teresa turned and left. Is he only concerned about me because Libby is here? If so, then there's no reason to refuse. Before walking out of the dining room, Teresa didn't forget to greet Libby. Welcome home, Libby. Thank you, sister. Today must be a meaningful day for Libby. I've ruined the mood, so I'll take my leave. Please enjoy your family time. Jayu walked to the main hall, and the atmosphere became silent again. The chat window exploded once more. The constellation Taste of Ashes donated 101 delicacies. The constellation Lover of Romance donated 101. Even without a male lead, I'm still following. This is great. The constellation Accelerator donated 101. I'm gonna dial, just lie down right here. The Constellation Kingdom Builder donated 101. Please let the channel level up to bronze. It's driving me crazy that I can only donate 101 at a time. However, at this moment, Jiyu's body was gradually weakening. Soon, Jiyu's live broadcast channel received 10,001 donations, the fastest donation speed yet. New constellations are joining, and they will not be disappointed. Ashes is the best. Is that family member interested in the streamer? From now on, I'm following this one. From a life that always craved the affection of others. Jayu thought she had finally escaped, but as expected, it was still impossible. Jayu was gradually losing consciousness when Oswald appeared again. You truly are the streamer I have high hopes for. Congratulations, your channel has leveled up, Miss Shin Jayu. Oswald explained seriously. There are 5 levels in total for a channel. In order, they are bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and finally diamond. As Oswald was explaining, everything around him stopped. Jayu wondered curiously, time has stopped? Oswald was still diligently explaining. Each time the channel levels up, the maximum donation amount also increases by 10 times. Teresa grasped the main point and asked, in that case, since I've leveled up to a silver channel, does that mean I can receive a maximum of 1,001 per donation? That's right. Teresa asked in confusion. Do streamers really buy the dream ticket? Even if you reach the diamond level, the maximum amount for one donation is only 1,000,000 won. How is it possible to save up 1,000,000,000 won? To buy that ticket? Oswald replied with a smile. Of course, it's possible. As he spoke, he tapped the ground with his cane, and the scene immediately distorted. Magic enveloped the two of them. Teresa staggered and grabbed onto Oswald. Oswald spoke again. The streamers I choose all succeed in buying that ticket. So you can too. Jiyu's arm was grabbed by him, and he then led her to a large door. He said as he walked through the door with her. A moment later, the two were back in the study. Oswald used magic to pull out countless magic books. Is learning magic fun? I brought the knowledge from a space that holds a lot of upgraded magic knowledge here. It seems you like it. Even though she had landed safely, Oswald still didn't let go of Jiyu's hand. She immediately struggled. Let go. Oh, I forgot. Oswald quickly released the binding spell between them, and then added, you didn't look well, so there was no other way. Jayu avoided answering. I was just trying too hard. She thought to herself, magic doesn't work at all, so I can't resist the channel administrator, right? Oswald read a book for a moment, then turned to Jayu and asked, have you gotten used to this body? You've been very proactive. Jayu didn't beat around the bush. She said directly, I need 1,000,000,000 won. That's good. Is there something you need from me? Hearing her question, Oswald was a bit lost. Something? Jayu pressed on. There must be a reason you pulled me out, even stopping time during the commercial break. After a moment, Oswald regained his composure and then replied, I don't need anything from you. Hearing this, Jayu became even more confused. She asked, bewildered, then why did you appear? Oswald replied in a matter-of-fact tone, as the channel administrator, it's my duty to check on your condition. As he spoke, he slowly approached Jayu. Oswald cornered Jayu and then said again, most people usually fall for it with just a few little tricks. Oswald realized, oh, Jayu, don't you like being close to me, your channel administrator? Jayu thought in confusion. He's not on the same level as the constellations. If this guy decides to become unstable, I'll disappear in an instant, just like how he deleted unnecessary data with a single gesture. After asking, Oswald waited for Jiyu's reaction. Although she was unwilling, Jayu still tried to force herself to act as he wished. But it seemed Oswald realized that, it seems you hate pretending to be close, Well, I understand that feeling. Jayu interrupted the speaking Oswald and said softly, I'm scared of you. These 3 words surprised Oswald somewhat, and he stared at her with wide eyes. Jayu continued, I don't know if you're someone I can trust. That's all. After listening, a smile spread across Oswald's lips that you're honest, Jayu had told him her inner thoughts. Because what's the point of hiding it anyway? He can see right through her. After listening, Oswald burst out laughing. His hand reached out gently, stroking her hair. You haven't realized your place yet, have you? You and I are not the kind of people who can trust and not rely on each other. Jayu, you just a toy, right? From now on, I'll call you Teresa, so you'll better understand your situation. Hearing this, Jayu could only curse Oswald in her mind. That bastard. She was about to curse him, but Oswald stopped her. I should go back now. Inadvertently, the commercial break seems to have been longer than I thought. As he spoke, he snapped his fingers. Everything continued as if nothing had happened. The tea tray in Penny's hands, which had been frozen in time, now fell. The girl cried out in fear, oh my goodness. The teacup shattered in the study. Oswald was still trying to remind Jayu, if you want to be loved, don't forget your role. While speaking normally, Oswald unexpectedly pulled her into his arms and then gave her a farewell kiss. Jayu was stunned and quickly pushed him away. What? Oswald didn't mention it again and said, now I'll bring the constellations back. Jayu actually wanted to stop him, and she hurriedly shouted, hey, wait. But as soon as he stepped out the door, he vanished without a trace. See you next time, Teresa. Only the 2 maids were left, busy cleaning up. Jayu was at a loss, with clear surprise in her eyes. He's gone? Seeing this expression, the maid quickly apologized. My lady, I'm sorry. I broke the teacup. I'll clean it up right away. Jayu said nothing, but a clear exhaustion showed on her face. She thought to herself, even if she had been looking forward to it, there was one thing she was sure of. If there was a way to overthrow him, I would not hesitate. As soon as this thought crossed her mind, Teresa's body began to grow unsteady again. In the blink of an eye, her whole body went limp, and she collapsed in front of the Duke. He rushed over. It seemed that after every encounter with Oswald, the Teresa in this world would fall into a state of inexplicable exhaustion. The Duke carried Jayu back to her room and asked worriedly, how is Teresa? The private doctor quickly replied, she just fell asleep. She fainted due to dizziness. We've prescribed some medicine, and she will recover soon. The doctor, after leaving, the Duke looked around Teresa's room and confided in Donovan. How can a daughter of the Squall family live in such a remote room? There are many better rooms than this. Why doesn't she live in another one? Donovan said kindly, I'm sorry. It was the young lady who insisted on staying in this room. Hearing this, the Duke couldn't help but wonder. An empty, rarely visited room at the end of the hallway. Would a truly arrogant Teresa choose such a room? It was at this moment that he truly realized what he had done. He reproached himself sadly. Have I really been that cold to Teresa? Donovan immediately denied it. Not at all. You have always done your best. The Duke sat by the bed, looking closely at his little daughter. Now he realized, I always believed I was never wrong. Today, when I looked into her eyes, my chest ached strangely. I even suspected she was provoking me in a different way, because Teresa is hopelessly stubborn. But then, some things were strange. Her behavior was very different from before. Donovan sighed. Well, the young lady is 22 years old now, after all. These words reminded the Duke of how his little daughter used to be. Teresa was once very obedient, father. But now, for some reason, his daughter had become stubborn. He sighed and said, yes, she's 22. After an unknown amount of time, Jayu finally woke up. As soon as she woke up, she started reading the comments again. The constellation Ashen Channel donated 1,001. Her timing for getting sick is too perfect. The entire universe is helping this stream. The constellation Conspiracy Theorist donated 1,001. Everything was planned by the streamer. Raul is just dancing in the palm of her hand. Jayu read a series of them, but didn't understand a single one. She asked blankly, what are all these? The notification window disappears after a certain amount of time, which meant these donations were all recent. Do people just keep donating everywhere like this? Seriously? At that moment, the maids also noticed she was awake and all rushed over to ask, Lady Teresa, are you feeling better? Jayu was a little surprised by the maid's different demeanor. Are these Teresa's maids? Even so, Jayu couldn't be bothered to ask more and replied calmly, Yes, I'm fine. Can you help me get ready? Yes. The maids began to prepare Jayu. Just then, there was a sudden knock on the door from outside. Who could it be? Who would come at this hour? Jayu immediately stood up and then called for them to enter. Come in. As the door opened, a group of people were holding many new pieces of furniture. One of them quickly informed Jayu, My lady, the new furniture has arrived. Jayu froze. What is the situation now? The workers were very efficient, and one of them hurriedly requested permission. We've moved everything in. May we leave the door open while we arrange the furniture? Jayu asked blankly, Why the sudden addition of all this perfect furniture? He hurriedly replied, The master of the house said these things were not befitting of your status and ordered them all to be replaced. Hearing the word status, Jayu was slightly surprised. Since when did Teresa have a status? But she quickly accepted it all. Well, it's not like I'm paying for it, so it doesn't matter. Even if it's a bit strange for Raul to care so much about Teresa. Okay, I understand. Maybe just this once. Hearing this, he proposed further. Please relax, my lady. If you could go to the garden until everything is ready. The garden? Yes. The Duke said he has something he wants to give you. It's a birthday present from the Duke. The butler, Donovan, solemnly brought a carriage before Jayu. She was shocked again. This is my private carriage? Yes. Jayu was confused. Impossible, this must be. I even have a blank check. A carriage is a bit too much. Donovan kindly explained further. This is a birthday gift the Duke had specially customized for you. The Duke does not consider it too extravagant. This might be the first gift she had ever received, so Jayu must have been very confused, but I think this is. Seeing her like this, the constellations started typing. Hahafu donated 1,001. I found my sanctuary. The materialist sends a round of applause. Jayu hurriedly checked her memory. I didn't add the detail that Teresa had a private carriage. This was supposed to be the carriage Libby received on her birthday. Just as Jayu was unsure how to react, Duke Raul's voice came from a distance. All of this is your birthday gift. He slowly walked towards her. Not only the Duke, but Duchess Rosen and her youngest brother, Giuseppe, were also there. How are you feeling? Jayu quickly replied, I'm fine now. The Duke immediately followed up, that's good. As soon as Jayu saw the entire ducal family, her thoughts raced. Is he feeling guilty for forgetting my birthday? But this is Teresa's birthday. Of course he'd forget. The Duke continued, do you like the carriage? Although Jayu didn't understand what was happening, she still politely and quickly answered her father's question. Yes, I like it very much. Thank you, father. Even if she wasn't sure, there was no harm in accepting it. Seeing the distant attitude Jayu showed him, the wrinkles on her father's face deepened slightly, and then he said, I see. Jayu was very sharp. She could both answer her father and observe Giuseppe. He wants to get a closer look. I guess this is the age when boys are obsessed with cars. So Jayu stepped forward and suggested, you can get a closer look. This is your first time seeing this kind of carriage, isn't it? As the door opened, Giuseppe exclaimed, wow. As if on cue, Jayu began to rattle off a series of technical details about the carriage. Compared to other carriages, the interior design looks simple, but the simpler something looks, the more advanced the technology required to make it. It's made of heat-resistant and insulating materials, so although it looks simple, it's very expensive. It's also very light, which reduces wheel vibrations, so it's safer. Only after she finished speaking did Jayu realize she had let it slip, and her face immediately flushed red. A comment appeared. Sorry, I'm a science expert. I'm donating 1,000 gold. More technical knowledge. Maybe it wasn't necessary to talk about technology. Giuseppe immediately turned to Jayu and asked, how do you know all this? Just as Jayu was stuck, not knowing how to explain, her savior appeared. Everyone's gaze turned to the little girl as Libby timidly stepped forward. Jayu looked around, waiting for Libby's next move. As for why Jayu knew so much, it was because she and her team had worked hard to create this carriage, a carriage specially made for the beloved Lady Libby. Libby stepped forward and praised, this carriage is so beautiful. Jayu replied softly, yes, I know. She could see Libby's difference at a glance, but she didn't seem to be looking at the carriage at all. Should I go back? As soon as Jayu had this thought, the words immediately came out of her mouth. I'm going back to my room. Hearing that Jayu wanted to go back to her room, Libby seemed a little flustered and hurriedly called out, Sister, Wait. The little girl hurried over and grabbed Jiyu's arm. Then Libby timidly took out the gift she had prepared for her sister. Please take it. It's nothing special, but it's a birthday gift I prepared. Jiyu now remembered the plot of the story. Ah, so it was today. The plot where Libby belatedly realizes Teresa's birthday and gives her a gift. In the original story, Teresa threw it on the ground without even looking at it. That if I do that now, I'll be heading straight for the gates of death. Thinking this, Jiyu immediately did the opposite and happily accepted the gift from Libby's hands. Should I open it and see? Libby nodded excitedly. The gift inside was not valuable, but it was very meaningful. Did she make it herself? Perhaps because she's good with her hands. It's very detailed. Jiyu picked up the gift and then praised it softly. It's beautiful. Thank you. Should I try it on? Libby nodded shyly again. Jiyu put the bracelet on her wrist and said, It's very beautiful. Thank you. Hearing these words from her sister, Libby's eyes lit up and she quickly replied, I'm so happy. I was worried before because I didn't know your size. Duchess Rosen, who had been watching from the side, finally spoke. Your sentiment is commendable, but for the eldest daughter of the Squall family, it is a bit lacking. Jiyu was once again surprised by the Duchess, looking at her with suspicion. What? Duchess Rosen took off the bracelet from her own wrist. This is part of the dowry I brought when I got married. It might not match today's jewelry well, but it is a high-quality aquamarine bracelet. She gently placed the bracelet on Jiyu's wrist. I just remembered now, my congratulations are late. Happy birthday, Teresa. Jiyu had handled the first 2 times smoothly, but when she met Duchess Rosen's eyes, Jiyu didn't know what to do or say at that moment. This scene wasn't in the original story. This is also the first time I've received a gift full of sincerity. At this moment, the Duke, who was behind her, spoke. You should at least say thank you. His voice startled Jiyu. This is a mistake. Raoul can't stand Teresa being rude to his wife. Jiyu quickly apologized. I was rude. Thank you for the gift. She said worriedly, This is the first time I've received something like this. I will accept it with gratitude. I'm sorry, I'll take my leave now. After speaking, Jiyu hurriedly turned and left. Duke Raoul was taken aback. He realized he had unintentionally hurt his daughter. So he said in confusion, Wait, Teresa. But no matter how he called, she didn't stop. Jiyu ran away as fast as she could, not even daring to look back. The constellations started commenting again. The constellation Macminia donated 1,000 gold. The constellation Hahafu donated 1,000 gold. The constellation Lover of Romance donated 1,000 gold. As she ran, Jiyu thought in confusion, Libby doesn't know how to use the Squall family's wealth yet. She just does her best. Whereas Rosen acts wisely, so that Libby's naive gift won't be used against her. Jiyu ran all the way to the lake before stopping. Looking at Teresa's rippling face in the water, she thought sadly. I know it too. Because I wasn't raised with love, I tend to overestimate things that are insignificant. I don't even know my own place. The scene changes to the next day, still at the Squall family mansion. It wasn't completely dark yet. Jiyu and the maids were getting ready, and everything was soon finished. Everything is ready, my lady. Penny looked at Jiyu in the mirror and praised. You look absolutely beautiful today as well. The constellations obsessed with the girl were eagerly waiting for a hint again. Is this what true beauty is? My heart is pounding. The constellation appearance expert donated 1,000 gold. Jiyu looked at herself in the mirror and thought faintly, this is all for the top-tier people to see. This is just a face they see every day. At this moment, Penny asked curiously, but isn't tomorrow the first day of school? Why are you dressed up like this today? Jiyu replied with a smile, Oh, it's nothing. I just need to buy a few things at an auction. It's a little-known fact about the dimensional key, which is necessary to reach the seal of heaven, that when one uses the key to open a door to a specific location, the random probability of finding heaven is very low. Hearing that Jiyu was going to an auction, Penny's face immediately became worried. Will you be all right? Since it's an auction, Count Fabio might be there too. Hearing this name, Jiyu froze for 2 seconds. Fabio? Who's that? But then she immediately remembered. It was Teresa's ex-fiancé. That was Teresa's fiancé, not Jiyu's, so she didn't care much. It's not like I can avoid it anyway. I'm the reason the engagement was broken. Seeing this, Penny thought Jiyu was upset and quickly apologized. I'm sorry for bringing it up again. You must still be very sad. I'm Fina. All right, I'm leaving. Jiyu was concerned about the key, and the place where that key first appeared was at the auction at the St. Leo Hotel tonight. As Jiyu walked down the stairs, she ran into Giuseppe, standing there. Why is he here at this hour? The boy was still looking at her with a hateful gaze. He looked very angry. As soon as he saw Jayu, Giuseppe shouted, "You're going to the auction? What's with that dress? What's wrong? Do I look strange?" Jayu looked at herself in confusion, thinking the dress suited her well. Giuseppe cleared his throat. "This dress. Ahem." As he spoke, he used magic to modify Jayu's dress, making it sparkle like the stars in the night sky with every step she took. The boy's gesture left Jayu even more bewildered. Although Giuseppe still acted as if he disliked Jayu on the surface, he had helped her get ready. Now, it's much easier on the eyes. Constellation conspiracy theorist has gifted 1,000 gold coins. That guy has completely fallen for her. The scene changes to the auction house, where many nobles have gathered to chat. Just then, a magnificent blue carriage appeared before the main gate, drawing everyone's attention. That carriage is quite luxurious. Is it a member of the royal family? Look at that crest. It must be the Duke Squall family. All eyes were on the girl alighting from the carriage. If that's the case, could it be Lady Teresa Squall? Just as they had guessed, Teresa stepped down from the carriage magnificently. A member of the royal family stepped forward and bowed respectfully to greet her. "We have been waiting for you, Lady Teresa Squall. This way, please." Teresa's appearance caused quite a stir. "I heard she would be coming today, but I didn't expect it to be true." "Oh, my goodness. But what is with that sparkling dress? The trail it leaves where she walks is like that of fairy." A man suddenly spoke up, mocking her. "She's definitely trying to get attention. Who could stand a girl who spends money like water?" No wonder her engagement was broken off. Jayu heard all of this. She glanced at them, but said nothing. Her gaze struck fear into the group. Jayu thought to herself, "A character I don't even remember, just a random side character who messed with the villain." With countless death flags, the constellations continue to pop up with comments. Constellation professional sideline coach has gifted 1,000 gold coins. "Shut those annoying guys up. This makes her look weak." I said it before, Jayu will definitely not let this slide. She gave an order to her maid, Eloise. "Yes, milady." Jayu would avoid taking direct action, but she would absolutely not let these people off. Go find out which families they belong to, and if we meet again, let them know that we will have their names struck from the list of nobles. Eloise replied immediately, "Yes, milady. I will handle it as you command." Then Jayu returned to her usual cheerful state and said, "Now, let's go shopping." Constellation Ashen Taste has gifted 1,000 gold coins. Broadcast volume at max. 100 satisfaction. Entering the banquet hall, a splendid and luxurious room, many nobles were gathered. Eloise exclaimed in excitement, "I've only ever heard of parties like this. Only the most special families are qualified to come here." Jayu also thought to herself, even in high society, the classes are clearly divided. Most nobles must have VIP status to use this place. At this moment, Jayu turned to Eloise and said, "Servants aren't needed here, so everyone act naturally and don't draw too much attention." The maids exclaimed excitedly, "Really? Then I'll be nearby. If you need anything, just call me, milady." Although Jayu didn't want to stand out, her presence had already captured everyone's attention. She's really drawing a lot of attention. They're all famous nobles, and there are some with even higher status than Teresa. There were quite a few people who wanted to take this opportunity to curry favor with her. Teresa was standing there when someone suddenly passed by and bumped into her. He said with an arrogant attitude, "I was just trying to turn around, and besides." But as soon as he turned, he met Jayu's eyes and immediately froze. Immediately after, a scream was heard, and all eyes turned to her again. The man quickly knelt and stammered, "Lady Teresa, I'm sorry. I dare to look at you with these eyes. Please forgive me." Jayu was stunned. What did I do to make you act like this? Jayu didn't remember Teresa's ex-fiancé at all, but thanks to the bald spot on his head, she suddenly recognized him. Things Teresa had done: bullied people until they started balding, refused to break off engagements until they knelt and begged before the Duke. Therefore, Jayu could only say gently, "You may go. We are both uncomfortable with this." Waiting only for those words, Fabio immediately fled from there. "Thank you. I will never forget this kindness as long as I live." The atmosphere began to liven up again, but everyone had certainly noticed her. Jayu stepped forward and gently raised a glass of wine. Even if she didn't want to attract attention, if someone passed by, they would still try to turn back for a look. She was no longer just a ticking time bomb. She was being treated like a disaster. But honestly, she felt pretty good about it. Just as Jayu was sitting and enjoying her party, a voice suddenly came from behind. "Oh my, Lady Teresa, I never expected to meet you here. Are you well? Jayu thought for a moment, but didn't recognize her. Who is this now? Constellation. Mika, I love you, has gifted 1,000 gold coins. She created the game herself and can't even remember the characters. Stop watching this and go back to Mika's stream. Many constellations feel uncomfortable. Constellation Auto Block Angle has gifted 1,000 gold coins. Mika's fans really followed us to the silver channel. Jayu sighed after reading it. Great, the joke has arrived. It said that the more unreasonable a person is, the more chaos they cause. A game isn't created by one person, and even a developer can't possibly remember all the side characters. And the graphics team only drew them once. Moderator Oswald has disciplined the viewer Mika, I love you. So there are moderators. It seems they are managing the channel. Jayu looked again at the three girls standing before her. I don't know who they are, but since Teresa is a complete variable, maybe it's fine to ignore them. Just then, another person approached. Her voice came from behind Teresa. There are many familiar faces here. May I join the conversation as well? Although the other three were a bit blurry to Jayu, she clearly remembered this person as soon as she saw her face. Her eyes lit up immediately. This was Lady Shady, a Marchioness with royal blood on her mother's side, a noblewoman known for her grace and prestige. Later on, she will become Libby's etiquette teacher. If I make a bad impression on her here, it might trigger a death flag. Lady Shady stepped forward to greet Teresa. It's been a long time, Lady Teresa. It's a pleasure to see you. Teresa immediately received a quest. Greet Lady Shady with proper etiquette. Quest reward. Increased social skills. Failure. Decreased reputation in high society. If her social reputation in high society falls below a certain level, she will be unable to request an audience with the queen. Jayu was stunned. What? A quest all of a sudden? Greet Lady Shady. First is proper etiquette, as she has the highest status here. But I don't know the names or titles of the others. At least give me a hint or something. New items are available in the shop. Jayu looked for a moment, then pulled up the shop. She was immediately brought into a multi-dimensional space, surrounded by many items that could help her. The items in the shop began to display their respective functions. A wishing ticket worth 1 billion so can grant any wish. Character information, price 5,000 so. Can view information on any character whose name you know, including Teresa's memories before you entered. Beginner's etiquette, 9,900 so. Executes proper etiquette according to the situation. Corrente sol, 98.900 sol. After searching for a moment, Teresa finally found what she needed, character information. She didn't hesitate and chose to buy it immediately. In addition, she also chose to buy beginner's etiquette. Just a second later, from someone who knew nothing about etiquette, Jayu could now curtsy skillfully and with ease. Please forgive my tardiness. She continued to chat with Lady Shady. I didn't expect to see you today. It is my honor to be able to greet you like this, Lady Shady. Lady Shady showed no expression. Even so, Jayu was very polite. The lady standing next to her exclaimed, "Oh my, you've grown into such a fine lady." Jayu smiled happily and replied, "Thank you, Lady Hamill." At this moment, Lady Shady spoke again, but with an evaluative tone. The atmosphere around you is so different. Jayu was a little taken aback by this, but she didn't mind much, as she had completed the greeting quest beautifully. Lady Shady smiled kindly and said, "I hope we can talk more in the future." Jayu was very surprised. The lady suddenly smiled for no reason at all. Immediately, the constellations sent her comments. Constellation Chochio has gifted 1,000 so. The so was spent in the right place. Other streamers would just save them and disappoint the viewers. The gifted so is very precious, at least in the BJ's opinion. But if the game is unstable, Jayu is truly a very smart consumer. The system continued to display comments, immediately buying another item after greeting Lady Shady. This girl is on another level. Constellation Girl who loves romance has gifted 1,000 so. Not bad, girl. The lady and Jayu sat down to chat. Speaking of which, her birthday had just passed. I can still imagine what she was like as a child. How did she grow up to become such a beautiful young woman? Meaning, this lunatic is starting to act like a person. Despite thinking this, Jayu remained very proper on the surface. "You flatter me, milady." Lady Shady smiled and praised. Perhaps this year will be different, especially at the Flower Festival event. Constellation Girl who likes romance showed interest. As you know, the Flower Festival event is an important ceremony on the path to becoming queen. The most dazzling young lady at the summer party in August will be awarded a flower wreath by the emperor. But that was nothing to Jayu. She replied coolly, I plan to focus on my studies. The lady praised her upon hearing this. So diligent. Oh, that bracelet is lovely. Where did you buy it? Jayu noticed the bracelet on her wrist. Isn't this an item from this event? Perhaps that's why it's so eye-catching. Jayu smiled gently and held up the bracelet. Oh, this? My sister made it for me. It was a birthday present. Although it was just a small gift, all the ladies were very interested. I heard the Squall family recently found their long-lost child. It must be strange to suddenly have a younger sister, but it seems you two get along well. Asked directly, Jayu didn't answer right away. She was silent for a moment, as if recalling the scene of her little sister running after her to give her the gift. Afterwards, Jayu answered honestly, anyone who meets her would love her. That's what I think. After this answer, the atmosphere suddenly turned silent. Jayu was confused. Oh, did I overdo it? Oh, that. To save Jayu from embarrassment, Lady Shady helped her out. This reminds me of my sister who got married. The other ladies chimed in. Me too. We always argued when we were little, always fighting, even hating each other, but now I miss those days too. Sisters are the kind of relationship where you always bicker over small things, then make up as if nothing happened. They're also the best of friends. One day, as a princess, you might have the chance to experience this. I hope the princesses can get along. Listening to these words, Jayu breathed a sigh of relief. I don't think that will happen between Libby and me. But she still replied along with them. I will remember your words. Then I shall take my leave. Jayu was about to get up and leave when a hand stopped her. Wait, Lady Teresa. Thanks to you, I remembered something I had forgotten. Thank you. Jayu was stunned. I didn't do anything. The constellations immediately went wild. Constellation, the most romantic person, has gifted 1,000 so. I love moments like this. Constellation, pure romance, also gifted 1,000 so. Me too, this is what I like. Although Jayu didn't understand what they were talking about, she smiled and accepted the thanks. The auction had been going on for a while. Item number 15 was brought to the stage. A gift from an anonymous donor, a magic key. The magic within this key has not yet been discovered. We do not know where it leads. The auction begins. The nobles below began to discuss excitedly. A magic key? Sounds like another unusual antique. Soon, the first bid appeared, 400,000 gilon. We have 400,000 gilon. Do I hear 500,000? Jayu raised her hand without hesitation. 1 million gilon. 1 million gilon. It's up to 1 million gilon. All eyes were on Jayu. The auctioneer raised his voice. If there are no higher bids, then this item will belong to Lady Teresa Squire. After a while, the party finally ended, and Jayu had returned to her residence. The constellations appeared actively in the comment section. Constellation Macdamania sighed at Jayu's excessive spending. The magic key was now in her hand. Spending gifted so to buy a random item at an auction. Jayu replied to the comment. This key is an Easter egg. Let me show you all. You're curious, right? Why did I buy this key? And why did I choose such a secluded room? As soon as Jayu raised the key, it emitted a strange light. The key successfully opened it, shining brightly and illuminating everything inside. The key opened a door, revealing countless gold, silver, and jewels. Constellation Materialism Supremacy has gifted 1,000 so. Wow. Jayu wasn't too surprised by this. This was the immense fortune of the former Duke Squall. However, there was one thing it couldn't unlock, the hidden Easter egg. Constellation Materialism Supremacy sent another comment. Damn, I knew I could count on her. Jayu rummaged through the treasure chest. There must be something valuable in here somewhere. Soon, she found a piece of purple jade. That thing was really valuable. Jayu commanded excitedly, store everything in here into this magic brooch. It turned out that thing was a miniature treasure chest. The constellations worried about what would happen to the fortune if the brooch was lost. Jayu immediately explained, this is a bound item. It cannot be moved or stolen. The constellations were satisfied with the game system and had no more questions. However, there was one more thing that worried Jayu. In fact, there were two Easter eggs that the multidimensional key could not unlock. One was the treasure chest, and the other was the seal of heaven. It would be terrible if the constellations or Oswald found out about the second one. Fortunately, it seemed everyone thought the key was for unlocking the treasure chest. The tutorial is finally over. Starting tomorrow, the game of the gods will truly begin. The scene changes to a window frame where a young man sits listlessly. He just sat there, gazing out the window without a word. Today was Jawyu's first day of school, and she was sent to the academy early in the morning. Libby and Jayu got out of the carriage. Looking at the sight before her, the little girl immediately exclaimed, "Wow, I'm so happy we get to go to the same school. Actually, I'm a little scared. I only just found out I have magic, and now I'm suddenly entering Valhalla Academy." Hearing her sister say this, Jayu just watched her silently, not saying a word. She thought to herself, in the game, Libby's enrollment is a normal milestone, but seeing it in person is actually quite normal too. After a moment, Jayu finally called out to Libby. She suggested, "Do you want to use this carriage to get around? It's a waste to just leave it." Libby hesitated for a moment. "Thank you, sister. After all, it originally belonged to her." Libby looked around and then called out, "Sister, I think everyone is looking at us." Jayu was a bit confused. Why would they be looking at the infamous Teresa? Even so, Jayu had to act normal and replied, "It's normal. It's natural to look at a pretty new student. Constellation, romantic taste, has gifted 1,000 so. Why haven't we seen the male lead yet? And she's with the female lead instead?" After reading it, Jayu didn't even understand what he was asking. She ignored it. Then she continued chatting with Libby. "The opening ceremony is in the auditorium. I'll take you there." Before she could finish speaking, a voice was heard from a distance. "Damien." Not far away, girls were gathered, clamoring and shouting Senior Damien's name. "Dad, I love you. You look so handsome today, too." Libby was also drawn in by the shouts. Jayu immediately explained. "He's the vice president of the student council at Valhalla Academy." Jayu looked in that direction, and some words came to her mind. "He's surrounded, so I can't see him. But there's something I want to confirm. I don't need to approach him myself." The encounter with Damien is about to happen. Damien tries to escape from the crowd of girls. He runs away in a hurry and is expected to bump into Libby. Since he's a student on a squall scholarship, it's impossible for him to just walk past her. It looks like that scene will unfold perfectly. But in reality, the person Damien bumped into was not Libby. A boy's figure suddenly appeared behind Jayu. It was Damien. He actually bumped into her, not Libby. Damien hurriedly apologized. "Are you all right, Teresa?" Jayu was a little surprised. Why did he bump into me? In the original story, he was supposed to bump into Libby. Constellation, lover of pretty faces, has gifted 1,000 South. Constellation, lover of pretty faces, is about to explode with satisfaction. For a moment, Jayu didn't know how to react. She immediately selected character information, Damien. The system immediately sent detailed information about Damien West. Age 22, height 187 centimeters, birthday January 31st. Hobbies, toys, cooking, sports. Dislikes, nobles. Favorability, none. Reading this, the favorability meter appeared. Favorability level 1, black heart. This means Teresa can also be pursued. A black heart from the start. Jayu was very surprised. The male lead's reactions are based on favorability. In the following order, favorability level 1 becomes a friend. Favorability level 2 becomes best friends. Favorability level 3 develops a crush. Favorability level 4 turns into love. And favorability level 5 is the true ending, meaning the two will head towards marriage. After reading all this, Jayu still couldn't explain the black heart. So, what does the black heart in Damien's favorability mean? Completely different from a red heart, it's negative. It marks the beginning of the path to the gates of death. Favorability level 1, wary. Favorability level 2, cautious. Favorability level 3, threat. Favorability level 4, killing intent. Favorability level 5, bad end. That was a warning to the player. Jayu looked at Damien in confusion. It's right to have a black heart from the start, because I'm Teresa, but isn't this too tense? The constellations are now closely observing how the BJ's male lead is doing. Soon, Jayu remembered, and she had her answer. It said that Teresa looked down on Damien for being a commoner here, but there's really no reason to do that to fill up the favorability meter. So Jayu hurriedly turned the situation around. She smiled and started talking to Damien. "Damien, long time no see. Did you have a good vacation?" Damien seemed taken aback by her question, but soon he responded, "You seem to be in a good mood today, Teresa." Jayu replied, I have a reason. Allow me to introduce you. This is Libby, my long-lost sister. Libby quickly spoke up. Hello, I'm Libby. Damien replied briefly. Hello. Watching the two face-to-face, Jayu thought again. I don't expect such a small thing to affect Damien's favorability, but if I keep this up, maybe I can escape the gates of death. While talking to Libby, Damien only glanced at Teresa. Jayu continued to start topic. You're on your way to prepare the opening ceremony for the new students, right? He seems to have noticed the abnormality in my behavior. That expression is just like when I find a bug in a game. Damien's expression at this moment looked extremely hard to read. Jayu still tried hard to be friendly. She smiled and said, "Could I ask you to take my sister there?" Damien replied coldly, "That's not difficult." But how did she know I was on my way to prepare the opening ceremony right now? Damien looked at Jayu with a scrutinizing gaze. Jayu wanted to scream that it's because she's the game developer. But on the surface, Jayu still had to try to stay calm and answer normally. Everyone knows. Well then, please take care of my sister. Before Jayu could finish, she was interrupted by a scream from a distance. Teresa Squire, a pink-haired lady, walked over angrily. Jayu and Libby looked at her blankly. She frowned and shouted, "Get away from Damien." Soon, Jayu confirmed that this was Mimosa Bruni. Even in the fair and ideal Valhalla, there were still some people who could treat Teresa however they wanted, and Mimosa was one of them. A noble lady from the Duke Bruni family, and like Teresa, also a villain. Her mother was the emperor's half-sister, which meant Mimosa carried royal blood. Mimosa made a face at Jayu. Her purple eyes and pink hair were proof of her royal lineage. Mimosa ran over, pushed Jayu away from Damien, and shouted, "Are you crazy, daring to seduce Damien?" Damien was about to stop Mimosa, but Jayu reacted first. She immediately grabbed Mimosa's hand and said with a smile, "Oh, my long time no see. Did you have a good vacation?" Mimosa was startled by Jayu's action and staggered back a few steps. Even so, she continued her act. "This is my sister Libby, if you want to bully her. Then from now on, I can't guarantee your safety." Jayu was still smiling, but her voice carried a threat. Mimosa heard the terrifying words, and she shouted, "What did you just say? Are you threatening me?" Jayu thought to herself, actually, this is for her own good. Libby is higher ranking than royalty. After all, she's the female lead. If she makes one wrong move, she'll die. It turned out Jayu was doing this to protect Mimosa's life. The people nearby started to stir again. Teresa and Mimosa are fighting again. I heard it's because Teresa greeted Damien. Impossible. Teresa is the president of the Clyde's Prospective Brides Club. Jayu unexpectedly heard about this situation from the students. Everyone was still whispering. Teresa only has eyes for Clyde, no one else. And she's also the vice president of high society. Jayu suddenly blushed hearing this. They said it was a social club, but it was actually a fan club. In Valhalla, there were two social clubs pursuing the two male leads. One was Clyde's future bride, and the second was for those crazy about Damien. Teresa was the president of the Clyde's future bride club, while Mimosa was the president of the one for those crazy about Damien. There cannot be two masters in one country, and both were presidents of two opposing clubs, making them mortal enemies. Jayu blamed herself. Honestly, I didn't think much when I wrote this, but now I'm so embarrassed. Seeing Jayu's unusual expression, Libby asked with concern, "You don't look well. Are you okay?" Jayu hesitated. "Libby, don't worry about me. Go with Damien." Mimosa shouted again upon hearing this. "How absurd. Why are you making your sister go with Damien?" Jayu was annoyed by Mimosa's shrill screams. Wow, she's so picky. I need to find a way to get out of this right now. Her savior had arrived. Jayu saw a man in the distance. Her eyes lit up immediately. Jayu turned and placed her hands on Mimosa's shoulders. Then she smiled again and said, "Oh my, how silly of me. I was just about to go see the professor with Mimosa. I completely forgot." Mimosa was stunned. "What? Why me? See you later, Damien." And just like that, Mimosa was dragged away by Jayu, and though she didn't want to, there was nothing she could do. Constellation Cinder's Pass has gifted 1,000 so. Note Teresa's etiquette, physical version. Mimosa was still screaming nonstop in Jayu's ear. "You're completely crazy. You're violent and stupid." But after just a few steps, Mimosa shut her mouth because of the man who appeared before them. She didn't dare to shout anymore. Before them was a tall, red-haired man. He asked in a low voice, "What's wrong?" Mimosa looked quite scared. This was Professor Elijah. Jayu, on the other hand, smiled and said, "Hello, Professor. I wanted to see you to discuss my career path." Professor Elijah was a little surprised, but he suggested, "Come to my office." Hearing this, Mimosa hurriedly refused. "I have a private appointment with my advisor." Professor Elijah didn't press her. He replied, "I see, then you may go." And just like that, Mimosa left in frustration, while Jayu luckily escaped. Teacher Elijah continued to Jayu, "Let's go." Jayu replied obediently, "Yes, teacher." On the way to the office, she quickly updated the information for the character Elijah. The information board appeared again. Age 30, height 194 centimeters, birthday January 21st. Hobbies: science, books, research. Dislikes: noise, carelessness, restraints. Perhaps because Jayu had seen the black heart on Damien's meter, Elijah's empty meter was actually pretty good in comparison. But Jayu still wanted to pay special attention to Elijah's favorability. Soon, the two arrived at Elijah's office. He politely opened the door and invited Jayu in. Constellation, Nightfire Noble, has gifted 1,000 so, a sparkling jester streamer. "I have a question. Why does this professor hate restraint so much?" Jayu fell silent after reading. She thought, what on earth is wrong with this person? In the world of God's game, Celestials specifically refer to angels, but there were many other races. Holy angels, demons, and chaos beasts. In the past, these races existed independently, not interfering with one another, but due to an accident, the distance between dimensions collapsed severely. And Elijah, who was deeply connected to that accident, had another name, the Great Demon of Blue, whose tragic end was the destruction of the human world. In other words, Elijah was an archangel, one of the most powerful archangels who ruled over the angels, making him a ruler of the Celestials. However, after the angels murdered Elijah's two twin brothers, Elijah was exiled to the demon world, where he fell and carved a new name onto his soul, and that name was the Great Demon of Blue. In other words, he could be both an angel and a demon. However, he seemed more taciturn now. Jayu tried to reassure herself, that's right. Elijah's goal was to destroy the celestial realm and other races, and to do that, he had to first overthrow the humans who played an intermediary role. But right now, this person doesn't hate me. Seeing her continued silence, Elijah finally spoke. "Teresa Squire, I don't like to waste time." Only then did she realize her gaffe and hurriedly apologized. "I'm sorry. Yes, career counseling." She began to stammer out an excuse. "Actually, there are some parts in the textbook I don't quite understand. I was just thinking about that, but I'm not lying." She started flipping through the book, searching for something in the textbook. Seeing this, Elijah said, "That's a second-year textbook. How much of it do you understand?" Asked this by Elijah, Jayu looked at him in confusion. Then she hastily turned a page and pointed to a section in the book. Elemental magic utilizes elemental properties, right? Fire, water, earth, wind. These were used a lot, but why can't white magic and black magic be used? It said they were lost during the time of the ancient magic kingdom, but in theory, they should still be usable, right? Constellation, sorry, I'm not a liberal arts expert, donates 1,000 su. Can you help me summarize magic? Elijah looked at her, perplexed. Then he called her name again, Teresa Squire. That topic is a third-year course. Jayu was once again rendered speechless, as she was a fourth-year student. Jayu wondered if she could even graduate. Even so, Elijah asked gently, "Do you understand the content before this part? I'll ask you a few questions. Explain the process of casting magic." Although surprised to be questioned, Jayu was able to give an answer thanks to the author's memory. Magic sigils connect with circuits to form a magic formula. A brief but insufficient answer. Jayu continued, "When mana is channeled into the completed formula, it becomes magic. Casting magic is like writing game code. Maybe that's why magic is so interesting." Elijah didn't discuss that answer further and moved on to the last question. "What is the real reason you came to see me?" Jayu tried to act, but it turned out he knew the counseling was just an excuse, so she had no choice but to confess. "Actually, I ran into some trouble just now and thought I could hide when I saw you." Elijah immediately questioned, "So you ran here to use me as a shield?" Jayu felt guilty and didn't dare to respond. "Of all the places, I ended up in the Great Demon's laboratory." Just as she was at a loss, an interesting message popped up from the system, catching her attention. Damien's favorability has increased to 1 red heart. This was truly confusing. Then Elijah handed Joey a pile of books and said, "Read this pile of books and come to me if you have any questions. This is your punishment for being rude." Joey took the books in confusion. She didn't dare to refuse anyway. Then Joey left Elijah's room, holding the pile of books. Just by stopping by, why did the favorability increase? I don't remember having any strange interest in Elijah right now. Suddenly, someone came up from behind and called out, "Miss Teresa, long time no see. Clydesdale is finally reunited." 3 girls ran over happily. Joey quickly glanced at their outfits and confirmed. A silver butterfly brooch inlaid with a sapphire, members of the Clydesdale Club. The girl started asking Joey, "I was so bored not seeing you during the vacation. I have a new portrait card of Clyde. Do you want to see it? Did you come to school with your sister today? She's so pretty, but not as pretty as you, of course, Miss Teresa." Joey replied with a smile, "Please be kind to my sister." Although friendly on the surface, Joey had already grasped the personalities of these people. As expected, they were members of the male lead's fan club, each a rival who wanted to torment Libby, but as long as she was the president, she could prevent that from happening. The problem was Mimosa. Was there a way to disband the entire club? Just as Joey was thinking, the pink-haired girl suddenly noticed the pile of books in her hands and asked, "Miss Teresa, what are you holding?" She replied calmly, "Oh, the books I plan to read today." The girls were immediately shocked by this information. Miss Teresa is reading? Did Professor Elijah threaten her or something? Hearing these words, Joey could only smile, though she was very frustrated inside. "Go ahead and insult me." Then the pink-haired girl quickly praised. "As expected of Miss Teresa, you know everything." "Know what?" The girl replied, "He's in the library right now, Mr. Clyde." This information confused Joey even more. She knew nothing about it. The girls exclaimed again, "You prepared books in advance to pretend to be reading? I really admire you." This time, Joey couldn't avoid seeing Clyde after all. Then Joey asked with a smile, "Can you tell me which library he's in?" Constellation, romantic lover, is very moved by your upcoming move to capture the male lead. The girl's information was very quick. He went to the Valhalla library. There were more books here than in the ducal library. Just as Joey placed the books on a table, footsteps sounded. She immediately turned her head in that direction. The person who had arrived was none other than Clyde. Constellation, psychic scholar identifier, donates 1,000 Sue. He has the face of a genius. This platinum-haired boy was Clyde Willow. Finally found Clyde Willow. She quickly purchased Clyde's personal information. Besides the basic information, what immediately caught her attention and surprised her was that his favorability towards her was a high 2 black hearts. Joey exclaimed, "2 black hearts." Joey was a little confused. The constellations acted again. Constellation, detective donates 1,000 Sue. New clue discovered. All the male leads have the same birthday, January 31st. After reading it, Joey explained, "This is because the game's plot branches and ends on January 31st. When a male lead's favorability is maxed out, he will send a birthday invitation to Libby, and the ending will change depending on whose invitation she accepts." Clyde coldly pulled out a chair and sat down. Joey was still watching him intently. He chose to sit a few tables away from Joey and on the opposite side. Constellation, romantic lover, hopes you sit opposite the male lead. Joey found it ridiculous after reading it. What reason did Clyde have to be in the library? The Valhalla Magic Academy was under the control of the Willow family. Clyde's grandfather, Duke Willow, was the academy's headmaster. After Clyde's father, Clyde Lynn Willow, died of madness. Duke Willow declared him the heir, but the collateral nobles objected, using madness as an excuse. When Clyde graduates, they will no longer be able to question his qualifications. So they are waiting for the right opportunity to pull him down. For Clyde, he just needs to get through this year safely. This is why he stays in the library. Approaching him would only provoke hostility. Clyde sat down, propped his chin on his hand, and focused on his book. But soon, he noticed the gaze that was constantly following him. But even so, he showed no sign of anything unusual. Under the afternoon sunset, the two sat together reading. Joey studied very diligently that I should find the next chapter. Elemental magic is considered the most difficult of all majors, but that's what makes it more interesting. Joey was engrossed in her book when Clyde suddenly walked over from somewhere and said, "Interesting, Teresa Squire, you actually followed me to the library. Wasn't this a place you would absolutely avoid before?" Joey was at a loss for words. That was because if Teresa kept appearing before him, Libby wouldn't be able to capture his heart. Thinking this, Joey could only find another excuse. I just thought I could focus on my studies this year. Clyde placed his hand on the table, closed the book on Joey's desk, and said sarcastically, "What a ridiculous reason. Why don't you just shut up? Hearing such absurd words gives me a headache." Joey could only laugh awkwardly. This guy's words are so harsh. Is this Teresa's karma? Even if she hated him in her heart, she had to force a smile on the surface. "I'm sorry." Clyde didn't stop, continuing to question, "Just words? If you're really sorry, then drop out of school." This sentence of his really angered Joey. He was showing the true colors of a spoiled third-generation Chable. Constellation. Explanation enthusiast donates 1,000 Sue. That's the school setting. So if you get expelled or drop out, wouldn't that be a loss? If that's the case, it definitely won't work. Knowing this information, Joey immediately refused. That's a bit difficult. As an alternative, I'll stay away from you from now on. She said it sincerely, because as the constellation said, dropping out or being expelled meant losing the game. Hearing this, the corners of his mouth turned up slightly, but just a second later, he couldn't help but burst out laughing. "But you applied for a dormitory near my residence." This information immediately shocked Joey, who didn't even know about it herself. He continued, "Honestly, I've never seen anyone as reckless, foolish, selfish, and greedy as you." The more Joey listened, the more uncomfortable she became. He was demeaning Teresa to the point where she was speechless. Even so, Clyde showed no signs of stopping. He went on, "I don't understand why you still like me after I've rejected you so clearly." Constellation. Romance novel lover donates 1,000 Sue. Now you should respond that you don't like him anymore. But that's too predictable and boring. As soon as this opinion was raised, Joey agreed without much thought. But Teresa's one-sided love was one of the causes of her death. To survive, she had to stop that feeling. Joey resolved to say she no longer liked him. The moment she opened her mouth, she said, "It's really hard to explain." He replied, of course." Joey continued in a gentle tone, "Liking you was the most natural thing for me." What? Clyde couldn't believe his ears. After saying those words, Joey paused for a moment, comforting herself. "I created this world with my own hands, especially the main characters I poured so much effort into. How could I hate a character I created with such care?" Therefore, what she said next was from the heart. "I just like you like that. It's fate." This indirect way of confessing left Clyde stunned. She just likes me like that. Fate. This way of speaking was really similar to the old Teresa. She always said that. But this time, his reaction seemed serious. Joey prepared to give him another answer. She shouted, "But I don't like you anymore." The constellation started flooding in with comments. Armchair Strategist donates 1,000 Sue. What? Why would you make an announcement like that? You acted on impulse. But this was indeed the better choice, as Joey felt she couldn't hide this feeling. She continued in a sincere tone, "But that doesn't mean I hate you. Let's just leave each other alone and get along well." These words left Clyde speechless. Then he turned and left without a word, just like that, leaving the library. Seeing his reaction, Joey felt uneasy again. Leaving without an answer made things even stranger. The constellation started popping up again. "Why didn't you just lie?" Joey thought. No, Clyde can see through lies anyway. After leaving the library, Clyde went crazy. The chains surrounding him and his emotions were extremely unstable at this moment. How could Teresa do that? I've never seen such pure emotion before. Every time Teresa said she loved me, I felt like throwing up. But now, it's as if her soul has been replaced. Noble emotions have a sweet and intoxicating feeling. If that soul follows fate, then it will. Clyde shouted at the main soul within him, "Shut up." At that moment, Joey's image kept replaying in Clyde's mind. That soul called his name again. Clyde, the half-demon with half-demon and half-human blood. Why are you doing that? Don't tell me you still think you're human. You are a demon born of a succubus, and humans will not accept the demon blood flowing in you. At this moment, a spatial portal opened, and Clyde reached in, taking out a fan from within. The fan in his hand was glowing. Clyde clenched his hand tightly, the light still radiating continuously. The power within him was building up. The soul cried out again, "Oh my God, are you rejecting yourself again?" Under the moonlight, Clyde stood alone in his room, his emotions extremely unstable. The scene shifts to the dormitory building. This was the dorm, a private residence on the second floor. Despite being the author, this was the first time Joey had seen the design of this dorm room. She slowly opened the door and went inside. Everyone in the Clyde fan club said this place was a downgrade, but I think it's not bad. She walked in and looked around. Just wanting a simple meal like this is enough. Just then, Joey found a letter on the table. "Miss, since you didn't have dinner, I brought you a sandwich." Joey quickly went into the bedroom, placed the books on the desk, and then leaned back on the bed. "I'm so tired. It would be nice if today could end peacefully like this." Then she sat up again, planning to eat before reading. However, just then, the channel manager Ozid suddenly appeared. "Did you have a pleasant journey?" His sudden appearance was completely unexpected by Joey. "Miss Teresa, what is this?" He snatched the sandwich from her hand. "Got a sandwich?" As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately threw the sandwich on the floor. Then he proposed, "You should be having a grand feast, right?" She had fainted from not eating before. Although a little surprised, Joey was too used to this kind of sudden appearance. She spoke up, "I guess you're here to run an ad today?" He gently kissed her hand and replied, "Thanks to Miss Teresa's great efforts, interview requests are flooding in." With just a kiss, Joey's clothes changed into another, more alluring outfit, and the next second, she was transported to a lavish party with countless dishes, and the person sitting opposite her was none other than the channel manager, Ozid. He said politely, "Please have a seat." Joey looked at him suspiciously. "You want to eat together?" "I don't think the followers would like such a bland segment." Ozid immediately denied it wrong. He snapped his fingers again, and notifications immediately flooded in, making her head feel like it was about to explode. When they saw him, the chat channel immediately blew up. "But Ozid makes it interesting. His face is worth it. I'll give more Sue. Please appear often." These comments made Ozid even more smugged. As you can see, they like it when I simply participate in the stream. Ozid's followers are crazy about him, just like the members of those two clubs, even though they have no interest themselves. The gift window you see is filtered. Have you ever felt that the amount of Sue is more than the number of gifts allowed? Joey immediately deduced, "No wonder the numbers are abnormally high every time I check my account. That means it's not just the gifts I receive when I'm unconscious or asleep." Her current total balance was 151,500 Sue. Ozid poured a glass of wine and continued speaking to her. "This is a bit second-rate for me, so I don't really like it. But having an interview while eating isn't too bad." Joey looked at him, silently judging. "With that hair, what level does he think he's on?" Afterwards, Ozid told her about the interview. Before followers join the stream, they get to know the situation through explanatory materials. Occasionally, some extra explanations are added to make it easier for everyone to understand. The streamer needs to provide the right amount of accurate information at the right time. However, if everything is revealed, it's no fun. In other words, the followers only know a simple description of God's game. They don't know the true identities of the main characters or the ending routes. After speaking, Ozid concluded, "So, considering this information, can you explain today's situation?" It seemed the stream had already started. Joey began her work. Professor Elijah is an angel who fell into a demon and disguised himself as a human. He plans to turn the human world into a second hell. The human world connects the celestial and demon realms, like a transfer station in a train system. And if it's turned into a demon realm, that would also mean turning all places into a demonic hell. If he's a great demon, can we call him a demon king? Ozid asked with interest. If such a thing exists, then the human world would be destroyed quickly, wouldn't it? Joey's team had also considered this possibility and implemented restrictions to make the overall gameplay smoother. Thinking this, Joey quickly had her next answer for Ozid. Humans can't live underwater, and fish can't live on land. You can't belong to both the underwater and the land. Professor Elijah is the same. Because of restrictions, he uses a human body as an oxygen tank. Other lower-level demons make contracts with humans and are subject to restrictions. As Joey answered the interview, Ozid watched her intently. After finishing her answer, Joey saw Ozid's expression from across the table and frowned again. Joey asked uncomfortably, "What's wrong?" Ozid replied casually, "Nothing. It's just, are reverse harem game worlds usually this intense?" This question made Joey blush. She answered evasively, "God's game is an RPG, so of course it is," even though she never intended to create such a grand world. Looking at Joey's cute expression, Ozid smiled and said, "All right, let's get straight to the point, Miss Teresa. You met 3 of the male leads today. Of the 3 of them, who do you like the most? Among the male leads, who is most to your taste?" Joey answered without a second thought, "None of them." This answer made Ozid fall into thought. Looking at his expression, Joey thought, isn't this answer too blunt for a romance drama stream? so Joey decided to elaborate. Among the characters who haven't appeared yet, there is one who is my type. Professor Felix Lockhart. His laboratory is like an ecological garden, and his ability to connect with animals and humans is also very prominent. The Emperor character hasn't appeared yet, but the 3 male leads I met today are all great. This answer finally satisfied Ozid. He smiled. Knowing this, Joey quickly continued her answer. It's just a bit hard to get used to because it's a little unrealistic. But they're all characters my team created, and I like them all. This time she really told him the truth, so she felt a little nervous. After hearing that answer, Ozid immediately commented, "That's a typical viewpoint, isn't it?" Joey nervously looked at him. "I'm not sharing my opinion on fictional content. I'm talking about something that's really happening to me. This guy is like a cruel god to humans. A person more dangerous than the male lead she met today. A real being who could do something to her in an instant. No, in fact, he had already done something to her." Anything she said could sound utterly ridiculous to Ozid. Because of this thought, Joey decided to counterattack. "I have a question too. You said this is your first time trying a romance theme stream, right? What do you think of it?" She intended to counter with a question. Ozid was a little surprised by his own streamer's counter question and stroked his chin, thinking for a moment. Although Joey didn't expect a good response from him, he surprisingly gave an answer. Ozid approached Joey and replied, "I don't think I've seen anything that could be considered romantic. But honestly, I thought it would be boring, but it's quite novel and interesting. I still don't really like romance." His hand gently stroked her hair, then moved to the chair Joey was sitting on. "Because what I find novel and interesting is you. So much so that I feel I could become a fan, Miss Teresa." Looking at the expression on his face, Joey could only judge that he was a pragmatic person, as he would even say such perfunctory things. Because the constellations were watching, he was just faking emotions for the benefit of the stream. Ozid snapped his fingers again and said, "Your audience isn't human. To capture their attention, you need stronger stimulation." Ozid quickly stood behind Joey, placed his hands on her shoulders, and began to guide her on a mission. This mission is to join the student council. Reward, 100,000 Su added. Failure penalty, expulsion. After reading the mission, Joey froze for 2 seconds. She had said she would avoid Clyde, but if she failed, she would be expelled. Ozid said like a weirdo, "There's nothing more stimulating and interesting than watching a streamer struggle in a strange world. I told you, strive to be loved. Someone like you, begging for affection, will lead the stream to success." Ozid's words made Joey curse angrily. This bastard. So, becoming a clown begging for Sue and attention is love? Finally, Joey couldn't help but retort, "Do you know what love is?" He smiled gently, of course. "It's what you want most, right? Isn't that why I'm willing to prepare the stage for you? Unlike your pitiful past life of unrequited love, from now on, the conditions to receive love in return are all prepared. You can enjoy being loved to your heart's content." That answer stabbed Joey's heart like a knife, and she sighed. This guy equated the amount of Sue donated by the constellations to the affection she begged for from her family. It was all her fault for asking him about love. Just then, the clock struck 2. The chime caught Ozid's attention, and he quickly announced, "Unfortunately, I think we should end the interview here." After that, he leaned in to kiss Joey goodbye, but she refused and dodged. Ozid looked disappointed. "Is a farewell kiss strange in your culture?" Joey didn't answer, but the answer was obvious. Even though Joey didn't answer and dodged, Ozid forcefully pulled her back. "But you know, Miss Teresa, you dare to dodge my farewell. Do I really need to respect your greeting culture?" He forcefully pulled Joey back and planted a kiss on her cheek. "Well then, good luck, Miss Teresa." After that farewell kiss, he disappeared as if nothing had happened. Joey actually shed tears over that cruel act. It was truly devoid of humanity. She slowly picked up the sandwich he had thrown on the floor, that I could have cleaned it up with magic. But she didn't seem to be in the mood to do so at the moment. Like a puppy in a cage, it was too suffocating. The first day was basically over. Fast forward to the next morning. Eloise said worriedly, at the ducal mansion, you would change your clothes at least twice a day. School uniforms are truly a barbaric custom. Although Joey didn't say it out loud, she praised the girl in her heart. Even as the daughter of a fallen family, she was still a noble lady. But she had 10 different school uniforms. A moment later, later. Joey said softly, I like this. Eloise quickly added, but the brooch matches the dress well. This sentence surprised Joey a little. That was something that symbolized Clyde's future bride. She usually wore it all the time at school. According to the setting, Joey couldn't wear it at home because her father would immediately take it off. It was the same now. Now it was just Joey, no longer Teresa. She refused bluntly. Put away. I'm not going to wear it anymore. The student council has not only Clyde, but also the president, Damien. Mission: join the student council. Reward: 100,000 Sue added. Failure penalty: expulsion. Teresa was still the president of the Clydesdale Club, CDTLCC, until now, presumably carefree. To complete the mission, Joey had to please both of them. The scene changes to Valhalla School. As usual, Jayu arrives at school, carefully reading the book Professor Elijah gave her as she walks. Ignite the greatest flame in water. She thinks hesitantly, surely Elijah wouldn't kill me just for skimming the book, even if he is a great demon. Just then, Jayu suddenly bumps into the person in front of her, and that person happens to be Damien. The comments section immediately erupts in debate. Constellation Romantic Love likes this detail. Constellation Hates Romance hates this detail. Jayu says awkwardly, sorry, I was so focused on my book I didn't see you. I bumped into him again. Damien replies with a gentle smile, no, I should have been more careful. Jayu feels a little guilty for pushing all the blame onto Damien. How can I blame the person I bumped into? She thinks, but he can handle it. Damien is a mage from the Assassin's Guild. His main job is vice president, and his side job is an assassin. When Jayu created him, duality was Damien's main charm. But now that she's in the game, this is a gateway to death. With that thought, Jayu smiles again and asks, are you okay? Damien replies, I'm fine, but your forehead is red, Teresa. As Damien speaks, he reaches out to touch her forehead. The gesture reminds her of tonight's nightmare. Why should I adjust my actions for you? So she quickly steps back, dodging the hand that was about to touch her. Jayu's overreaction startles Damien as well. Jayu says in confusion, you don't have to worry about me. Immediately after, she quickly finds an excuse and runs off that you're heading to the main building, right? Let's go. Damien watches Jayu with a puzzled look. A moment later, he speaks up. Teresa, do you like coffee? A little while later, Damien brings Jayu to his office. As they walk in, he introduces cheerfully, this is my office. Jayu looks around and praises, it's pretty and clean. Is he saying he decorated it himself? Damien smiles and says, I'm even happier to hear you say that. Constellation Detective's talent has gifted 1,000 Sue. There are no traces of human activity here. Some items are placed so carefully that it adds to the unnatural feeling. Jayu continues to observe and silently assesses a place that reflects a person. It seems this place is designed for secret activities. Jayu has always known that Damien despises Teresa, and his friendly actions towards her are just a deliberate disguise to cover up his identity as an assassin. This hypocrisy is too obvious. By the way, this event only occurs when one of Damien's hearts is filled. Jayu thinks, has the favorability changed? She quickly summons the status window, and the favorability has surprisingly increased to 2 black hearts. Jayu is immediately stunned. Impossible. It was just 1 black heart yesterday. Now there are 2 hearts. Even though he dislikes her in his heart, Damien still acts friendly. Come to think of it, this is your first time here, isn't it? Jayu gives an awkward laugh. Who knows, I don't pay attention to that kind of thing. Even if he hadn't invited her, Teresa probably would have barged in anyway. Damien pours coffee and continues to talk with Jayu. Really? Oh, by the way, Teresa, you came to the auditorium with your sister yesterday. Was it to congratulate her on getting first place? This question immediately triggers Jayu's genius reasoning ability. Damien knows Teresa isn't the type to congratulate others on their success, which means he's testing her feelings about Libby. Therefore, Jayu gives a satisfactory answer. That was the plan. But just because I don't acknowledge it doesn't mean her high score didn't happen. Damien pulls up a chair, sits across from Jayu, and continues, but your sister seemed a bit disappointed. Jayu immediately replies, there's no need to worry about my future. Perhaps not including graduation is more important than congratulating my sister. Valhalla's cruel education system is that if your scores are low, you get expelled. If you fail against a demon, you also get expelled. Jayu asks, frankly, you know my overall score, right? Her humorous reply makes Damien just laugh awkwardly. Haha. He takes a sip of coffee and continues. You're a fourth year now. It's time to worry. While Damien is talking, Jayu uses magic to add some ice to the hot coffee. The cool ice cubes are put in one by one, and she slowly savors the taste of the coffee, completely oblivious to Damien's gaze. He asks in surprise, you drink iced coffee? Without thinking much, Jayu smiles and replies, it tastes better this way. Damien asks curiously, is this a trend in high society now? Jayu denies it. No, it's just a personal preference. People wouldn't speak well of it if you drank it like this at a party. His words make Jayu realize, wait, Damien usually has information channels in high society. Is he politely insulting me? Constellation Romance Lover has gifted 1,000 Sue. It seems Damien is just being sarcastic about this breach of etiquette, like a commoner. His ability to speak like high society is impressive. Damien continues his statement very calmly. Even if it's not a trend, you really drink it like that. Regardless of what he says, Jayu adds more ice cubes. The constellations exclaim excitedly. Constellation Cinder Pal has gifted 1,000 Sue. Well, go on and mock if you don't get it, whatever. Her action leaves Damien speechless. As Jayu drinks, she thinks nervously. I was a bit embarrassed by his surprise reaction at first, but 2 black hearts haven't led to death yet. The priority is to get out of here as soon as possible, because Mimosa is likely to come by for a patrol around this time. If I get caught sitting and drinking coffee with Damien, the game's difficulty will increase significantly. The coffee. After finishing her drink, she quickly stands up. The coffee was delicious. Seeing her stand up so quickly, Damien is taken aback. You're leaving already? Jayu smiles and says, I have to finish my book before class. In reality, it's because she doesn't want to be seen by Mimosa. Why does this feel like something a person having an affair would think? It feels so strange. Hearing this, Damien also stands up. Let's go together, I have a class too. Just as the two are about to leave, Mimosa's clear voice rings out. Damien, are you in there? Jayu looks towards the door in a panic. Mimosa? It's not time for her to show up. How did she get here so fast? Constellation Deadly Question Mark has gifted 1,000 Sue. Is this a horror movie? Constellation Madman, who loves drama, has gifted 1,000 Sue. No, this is love and war. It's been a while since I've seen such a hot scene. Upon hearing Mimosa's voice, Jayu hastily looks around. Where can I hide? Soon, her eyes scan to a suitable spot. She sees a large cabinet. Immediately after, Jayu grabs Damien's hand and pulls him along. Damien is stunned. Teresa, what are you doing? Jayu says in a panic. No time to explain. We have to run. After the two hide in a corner, Mimosa outside sees no response and opens the door herself. Damien, I'm coming in. She walks in and looks around. I thought someone was in here. Did I miss here? I even brought a lunchbox. Where did he go? After pulling Damien into the cabinet, Jayu suddenly realizes Damien doesn't need to hide. In my panic, I pulled him in to hide with me without thinking. Outside, Mimosa also notices there are 2 cups of coffee here. Hearing this, Jayu feels extremely uneasy. If I get caught now, I'm done for. With Mimosa's personality, starting a war between the 2 clubs won't be enough. She might even hire an assassin. Worried, Jayu keeps turning her head to peek outside. Damien sees this, and he holds her, saying, Teresa, if you move again, we'll be found. The way he wrapped his arm around her waist startles Jayu. Damien just smiles naturally. Constellation Gurgling Romance has gifted 1,000 Sue. The chat channel is about to explode. Jayu marvels. Thank goodness only I can hear the gift notifications. At least I haven't been caught yet, I think. Mimosa picks up a coffee cup and notices, oh my, there's a lipstick stain on this cup. He had coffee with a girl. Hearing this, Jayu's sense of worry rises again. I should wipe my lips as soon as I get out of here. Outside, Mimosa starts to get furious. Which daring noble lady dares to seduce our pure Damien? Are you not afraid of me? Just wait until I find out who you are. I'll see to it that you get expelled. After saying that, Mimosa leaves in a rage. At that moment, the cabinet door slowly opens. Jayu stumbles out, complaining, that scared me to death. As Jayu is unsteady on her feet, Damien quickly supports her. Are you okay? Thanks. Seeing her like this, Damien advises, if you want to hide, a place like that isn't the best choice. You'd be easily found. Advice from a professional assassin. Constellation Schemer has gifted 1,000 Sue. This guy's got something. He's hiding a lot. Then Jayu asks with a smile. Then tell me where the best hiding spot is. I'll hide there next time. Her words had no deep meaning, but Damien didn't see it that way. Is she saying she'll come to my place again next time? Damien's tone suddenly changes, and he says seriously, I have something to ask you. You don't hate me anymore? Jayu immediately replies, I don't hate you. If anything, it's you who hates me. Then what do you think of me? I think of you as a friend like Mimosa. So that's why you acted like you were caught cheating just now? This question makes Jayu feel guilty again, because if Mimosa misunderstood, things would get serious. He feels the same way as her. Damien thinks for a moment and says, so are we going to keep meeting like this in secret? What kind of friends meet like this? That's not what friends are like. After a pause, Damien gently touches Jayu's face. This is why. You asked me about a hiding place, and I'm glad we can finally get along. I like you. Teresa, I've always wanted to be your friend. Constellation Gurgling Romance has gifted 1,000 Sue. Kiss her already. Jayu shyly pushes his hand away, with clear confusion in her eyes. Is that so? But your gesture is a bit. Damien doesn't mind. He smiles again and says, you still have a lipstick stain on your lips. You shouldn't let Mimosa find out, right? Although Damien tries to change the subject, Jayu isn't going to let him off the hook. She says softly, I don't allow friends to touch me like that. Only people in a romantic relationship do. This is the first time Damien has heard this, and he says naively, really? But other people seem to want something. As Jayu turns to organize her books, she explains, that's because they like you. Anyway, your gesture was a bit much for me. Constellation Humorous Wolf Duke has gifted 1,000 Sue. Why is this streamer so conservative? Want APA to teach you how to win a man's heart? Channel admin Oswald has banned user Humorous Wolf Duke. Jayu just reads and feels annoyed. I am conservative, so Damien's gesture is not strange at all. Seeing Jayu look uncomfortable, Damien says with concern, if you feel that way, I'm sorry, I'll be more careful then. She nods slightly. As long as you don't overdo it, limit it to a range that won't cause misunderstandings. After saying that, Jayu leaves. Well then, see you later, Damien. Yeah, see you, Teresa. After she leaves, Damien takes off his glasses. How strange. I can't understand her. I can't understand it. It's so uncomfortable. Not only has her personality become more reserved, but something is different. Teresa used to be stupid, that's right. But it's not like she didn't know anything. Honestly, I even considered letting her show herself a little, until she grabbed my coat and acted strangely. She's become more clumsy. As Damien is thinking, a small pigeon lands on the windowsill. Damien quickly picks up the bird. Is this from the guild? A letter has been delivered. Damien removes the letter and reads the contents. Determine Libby Squire's magical attribute. Report any findings on other nobles. Damien recalls Libby Squire. Didn't she say she used to live in the slums? The complete opposite of Teresa, the most noble of nobles. He thought Teresa would act arrogant, but the Teresa he saw that day. After thinking for a moment, Damien starts writing a letter. We need to strengthen surveillance on the Squire family. A quick check shows the younger sister possesses the white magic attribute. White mages were thought to exist, and even the guild was about to give up the search. Teresa must not have found out and is using her as bait. That's a baseless idea. Teresa is stupid, but recently she's been showing more expressions, and her rigid behavior has seen some gentle progress. Because of this thought, Damien decides not to report about her. Afterwards, he releases the bird. Because Teresa has changed now, I will only monitor her personally. The favorability changes from 1 black heart to 1 red heart. The scene returns to the lecture hall. After lunch, Jayu walks wearily. It's Professor Elijah's class, and I haven't finished reading everything. Just then, Jayu happens to pass by the school's bulletin board. A recruitment notice for the Clyde's Future Bride Club is posted. Desiring only Clyde, dreaming of becoming his wife, but also wanting to cherish love within a proper framework. New members are always welcome. There's also a recruitment application for the Damien Fan Club. There are only 3 clubs on the bulletin board, and those 2 clubs take up a lot of space. Even their recruitment ads are competitive. But what Jayu notices is the member application form for the student council that I think I should fill out an application and submit it. The constellations ask, why would anyone apply to such a dangerous organization? Jayu explains, in Valhalla, The student council is led by the top students, both the president and vice president. A magic night order. The student council regularly participates in monster subjugation missions, and when demons appear, they are the first to be summoned. Its mortality rate is higher than other students, but the elites still apply. Being a former member of the student council is a shortcut to success. Even after graduation, we are still protected by the Willow family and invited to the Imperial Palace to receive a medal from the Emperor. However, those things are useless to Jayu. The Willow family is an enemy of the Squire family, and her title already exists. Even if she doesn't want to ignite the Gate of Death, fighting monsters sounds better than wandering around. As Jayu is considering joining the student council, someone approaches and calls her name, Teresa Squire. Professor Elijah walks over and asks, "Are you thinking of joining the student council?" The moment she sees him, Jayu is startled and quickly backs away. She forces a smile and greets him. My heart almost jumped out of my chest. Why did I have to run into him when I haven't finished the book? Elijah still maintains a proper attitude and instructs, "It's better to read the last part after you've read the other 2 chapters. Jayu is a bit confused by this and admits honestly, "Actually, I started with those 2 parts." Did he think I started with this magic textbook? Wait, did he expect me to read all 3 before writing? Elijah immediately asks again, "Did you finish reading?" She replies nervously, "Yes, but the content of the last book was really difficult." Constellation Detective has gifted 1,000 Sue. What is the great demon thinking? Honestly, I'm scared. To avoid being scolded, Jayu continues, "Of course, I try to finish it during my lunch break, so I brought a sandwich. But I don't think I can finish it before class. I'm sorry." Instead of scolding her, Elijah says gently, "I never told you to finish it before class." Jayu is somewhat surprised by these words and looks at him blankly. Seeing her so tired, Elijah asks with concern, "Did you get any sleep?" Jayu is taken aback, thinking, "Do I look that tired?" She then replies, "Just a little." He doesn't say anything more, but his gaze towards her contains a certain emotion. A moment later, Elijah leads Jayu to his office. "Come in." Although not understanding anything, Jayu follows behind Elijah. What is he going to do? Elijah walks to a chair and remains silent. She immediately understands. Yes, he wants me to sit. Yesterday was one thing, but why did he call me into his office today? Jayu sits down blankly. She observes Elijah carefully, and he suddenly smiles. It was just for a moment, but Jayu noticed it. Wait, was that Elijah's smile? Did I see it wrong? It's impossible for Elijah to smile. Seeing that he said nothing, Jayu decides to speak up. "So what did you call me here for?" Elijah replies, "I'll be back before class starts. Until then, stay here." Before Jayu could understand anything, Elijah leaves. He left me alone in his office. Constellation Gurgling Rot has gifted 1,000 Sue. Is this the confinement route? Constellation Gourmet has gifted 1,000 Sue. A romance with a talented young professor. This is a perfect meal. Reading those cheesy comments, Jayu tells herself, "There's no way Elijah likes me, unless he's crazy." Strange, the constellations are curious about the streamer's thoughts. Elijah's office is a place Jayu can only enter after raising his favorability. She is very curious about this. At what point did I make a good impression on him? Constellation Detective has gifted 1,000 Sue. Maybe it's because she worked hard on the assignment he gave, so he gave her points. Jayu thinks so too. After all, he's a professor, and good academic performance is one way to gain Elijah's favor. A little favor from a great demon isn't the worst thing. Let's finish the last book. After an unknown amount of time, the door to Elijah's room is suddenly opened, followed by the sound of footsteps. The person who walks in is Clyde. He sees Jayu sleeping in the chair and stops in his tracks. Teresa Squire? What's she doing here? He looks around. That IT wasn't just anyone, but Professor Elijah, who asked me to deliver the student council application form. Could it really be for Teresa? Clyde still looks at her with a hateful gaze impossible. Teresa is the greediest and most selfish person in the world. The student council carries out monster hunting missions and eliminates demons. Teresa would never do anything that would put her in danger. Sacrifice is what Teresa dislikes the most. Clyde looks at her again, and this time he sees a book next to Teresa, a third-year magic textbook. That's a subject she should have finished last year. Is she taking remedial classes just to graduate? Unbelievable. After saying those words yesterday, "I love you," as if it were fate, now she's napping in a professor's office without a care in the world. Loves me like fate? A foolish human driven mad by my mask, who doesn't know my true nature. If she had the blood of the Rodrigo royal family, if she could instinctively sense my danger like Mimosa, how could she still say she loves me like fate? Me, a person more cruel than a demon. Do you think you can fall in love with someone like that? Don't make me laugh. Clyde leaves with a parting disgusting. But it's worth noting that his favorability towards her has changed, and there are no more black hearts. After another unknown amount of time, Jayu finally wakes up. She opens one eye and sees Elijah sitting right in front of her. Jayu quickly sits up. In a way, did I oversleep in here? Seeing her dazed look, Elijah takes the initiative to speak first. You're awake. This is your student council application form. He explains further, if you plan to join, fill it out and give it to me. Jayu says unexpectedly, thank you, Professor. Then Elijah stands up. Let's go to the lecture hall. Elijah walks ahead. His speed is such that Jayu can't keep up even while running behind him. He's walking so fast. I feel like a dog being dragged on a leash by a very narcissistic owner. A moment later, the two finally arrive at the classroom. Jayu walks in, and the empty sight inside reminds her of a detail. There aren't many students here. Elijah's elemental magic class is not a combat major, so it's unpopular. Mages are divided into combat and non-combat categories. Combat mages, if successful, become national heroes and dazzling stars, so obviously the combat department is very popular. In other words, Elijah's major is not only non-combat, but also difficult to become famous in, considered a neglected and independent field. But it is precisely its difficulty that gives it such a solid advantage. Mages who master elemental magic can handle any type of mana and can use advanced magic at an astonishing speed. Elijah and Clyde are living proof. Just then, familiar footsteps and a voice are heard again. Sorry, I'm late. Jayu recognizes it as soon as she hears it, that voice. Yes, Teresa only took this class to be with Clyde. Clyde also notices Jayu's presence. He surprisingly walks over and sits right next to her. Jayu glances at him blankly. Why is he sitting next to me? I told myself to ignore him, but this is really beyond my control. What's with him all of a sudden? Has the favorability changed? The favorability of the appearing Clyde confuses Jayu. A little while ago, the favorability had dropped to 0 black hearts, but now the number of black hearts is 3. When he turns to look at her, she is immediately startled. Clyde looks at Jayu with a sharp gaze. Seeing Jayu turn her head away in confusion, she tells herself, it's too dangerous, 3 black hearts. This doesn't mean instant death, but it's the stage where the gate of death could open. At this point, I have to join the student council. I have to reduce the number of Clyde's black hearts. It's the only way to avoid being sent back to the ducal house. While she is studying, the 3 young ladies from the Clyde's Future Bride Club are secretly standing outside the lecture hall looking at him. Clyde looks so dazzling today. Looking at him, I feel like I'm going blind. Hearing the whispers outside, Jayu immediately realizes that perhaps the increase in Clyde's black hearts is because of this. If she disbands Clyde's fan club, the number of black hearts will decrease a little. But if she does that, she'll have to ban Mimosa's Damien fan club too. If only one is disbanded, then either Damien's or Clyde's black heart count will surely increase. Then the game will obviously start heading towards a bad ending, and the possibility of evil appearing will also increase. Jayu is extremely worried about this. Never mind, let's just focus on the class, Jayu. As soon as she looks up at the podium, her eyes meet Professor Elijah's. He was looking at her too. Upon being discovered, Elijah immediately looks away and says, let's begin the class. Jayu is extremely surprised. Was he looking at me just now? Maybe it was just my imagination. But at least it feels like there's someone in this world who doesn't completely hate me, and I feel a little comforted. A long time later, the class finally ends. Jayu slumps onto her desk with a sigh. Professor Elijah is the kind of ruthless person who would speed up the pace like that. Is this a class or torture? The kind of professor who can't understand why others would fall behind at the same time. Clyde too. Jayu secretly glances at him. For now, until I know how to increase his favorability, I'll avoid getting involved with Clyde as much as possible. I'll ignore him as if I can't see him. Just then, the 3 young ladies suddenly run over and exclaim, Teresa, you're finally out. You must have had a hard time. That class was like torture, wasn't it? She is startled and quickly looks around. Thankfully, Elijah has already left. Jayu can only laugh at this. These kids didn't even attend the class. Meanwhile, a girl suddenly appears and calls out, Teresa, aren't you and Clyde going out together today? Jayu immediately recognizes this person, Miss Romeo, the one who made a pact with the demon Romeo. A former villain created by our team, someone who doesn't have a big impact on the game. But to Jayu at this moment, she is no different from a ticking time bomb. As long as a simple condition is met, she is a character who can summon a demon instantly. Miss Romeo timidly approaches and asks Clyde and Teresa, "I just want to see you two together." Jayu remains silent. She continues to recall, the condition for summoning the demon is that Clyde doesn't end up with Teresa. If Clyde gets too close to another girl, or even acts distant towards Teresa, it means the demon will be summoned. Thinking of this, Jayu blames herself again. How can my team set up such a ridiculous condition? So Jayu quickly finds an excuse to slip away. "Oh, I have a question to discuss with the professor." Elijah. As soon as the words are out, Clyde comes over from somewhere and says coldly, "Get out of the way." The three girls from the club are immediately captivated by his beauty. "You're so handsome. You look so dashing today, too." Teresa's friends keep pestering Clyde, which annoys him. "Can you all please move?" Jayu is completely frozen. Even though I'm the president, this is really too embarrassing. I'd better run. So she hurries away. The assignment is due today, and Professor Elijah is leaving. "I'll go first." This action of hers catches Clyde's attention, and the gaze he directs at her carries a hint of displeasure. Romantic Constellation sponsored 1000 Sue. Love begins with hate, so you know I'm on Team Damien. Jayu felt disgusted after reading it. What kind of nonsense is this? Facial recognition expert Constellation sponsored 1000 Sue. If we're just talking about faces, Clyde is the best. The Constellations all had the same question. Where is the BJ going? She answered that she was going to the library on the first floor. That was the best place to avoid accidentally running into other students. And in fact, it was also one of the few places Clyde didn't go. On the way to the library, Jayu happened to pass by a scandal, and Mimosa's voice rang out. It was her. She was going crazy at another female friend. You snuck into Damien's room this morning, right?" The girl kept denying it. "I've already said it 4 times, I didn't." Mimosa still didn't believe her and continued to shout, "Don't lie. There's a lipstick stain on the coffee cup. It's the limited edition just released by Gina Tellier. And guess what? That's your lipstick color." Libby refuted Mimosa with logic. "Limited edition doesn't mean there's only one, right?" Mimosa still insisted, "There are only 10 of them, okay? Not far away." He heard the whole argument and thought worriedly, should I have brought my makeup with me when I returned to the dorm? Why did Libby use the same lipstick color as me today? So Mimosa will definitely be suspicious. This is all because of me, so I have to take responsibility. Afterward, Jayu stepped forward and confessed, "That limited edition, I have one too, Mimosa." Libby smiled brightly as soon as she saw her sister. Mimosa questioned, "Now you're here to protect your sister. Now I get it. You deliberately had your sister approach Damien, right?" Hearing her go crazy, G secretly assessed. The original Teresa wasn't that smart at all. Responding to unreasonable anger will only tire me out. He couldn't be bothered to argue with her. She stepped forward and pulled Libby away. "We need to get out of here now." However, at this moment, Jayu received a mission. Receive an apology from Mimosa. Reward: unknown. Failure: expulsion due to Mimosa's revenge. This mission made Jayu feel helpless. They really turn everything into a mission. And why don't they show the reward clearly? I really don't want to get involved in this kind of petty squabble. But since it was a mission, Jayu had to comply. She called out to Mimosa. She had no choice but to force her to apologize. Jayu put on an innocent expression and said, "You're really good at wrongly accusing people." The surroundings started whispering again. Is this another battle between the presidents of the Damien and Clyde clubs? Isn't that the freshman representative? Don't tell me she's being bullied. Jayu thought to herself, I have to stop this fight before the members of Clyde's fan club gather. I ran away to avoid them, but if both sides show up, it'll all be for nothing. I don't like this, but there's no other way. Afterward, Jayu continued in a firm voice. Can you swear on your honor that the person who entered Damien's lab was Libby? Mimosa answered without thinking, yes, I can bet everything on it. Jayu suggested, then let's make a bet. If the person who entered Damien's room today wasn't Libby, you'll write a letter of apology and post it on the bulletin board. Mimosa questioned angrily, what do you mean? In contrast to Mimosa, Jayu continued very calmly. If you're not confident, then apologize to my sister right now. Her words touched Mimosa's pride, and she immediately shouted, fine. With just a little trick, Jayu successfully lured Mimosa in. The constellations started typing. Professional consultant Constellation sponsored 1,000 Sue. A gambler only bets when they're sure they'll win. Cinder Pass Constellation sponsored 1,000 Sue. The secret is unlocked immediately after luring Mimosa. Jayu happily revealed the truth. The person who entered Damien's lab today was me. Mimosa shouted in disbelief. What? Don't lie. Why would you go to Damien's room? Jayu calmly explained. Mimosa, do you remember the time you found a coffee cup? Around 9:30, because I got off the carriage before that. Mimosa replied. Afterward, Jayu turned to Libby and asked, what time did you arrive today? Around 10 o'clock. G immediately confirmed the information. That's right, that was the arrival time set for Libby. The constellations cheered and applauded. The students outside started discussing, the times don't match up, maybe it's just one side of the story, not necessarily. We can check the carriage's arrival time through the records. Jayu said confidently, then let's go check together. By then, Mimosa finally realized she had lost, so, without needing to check, Mimosa took the initiative to admit her mistake. I admit my mistake, Libby Squire. I apologize for suspecting you without reason, and I will write a letter of apology and post it on the bulletin board. Mission complete. Reward. The number of members in Mimosa's Damien fan club decreases. The number of members in Teresa's Clyde fan club increases. Jayu sighed helplessly. Is this even considered a reward? I see why they didn't show the reward before. It's so despicable. After apologizing, Mimosa still didn't leave. She questioned Jayu and asked, by the way, Teresa, why were you in the lab with Damien? Jayu had long expected this question and immediately answered. Damien has the honor of being the vice president of the Valhalla Student Council. Thanks to the Squire family scholarship sponsorship, I have a legitimate reason to meet him privately. Mimosa still didn't accept this answer. But you've always hated and wanted to destroy Damien. So what's the reason for meeting privately? As soon as she finished speaking, an event began. I have appointed Damien West as my personal guardian mage. Originally, this was an event in the Gods game, triggered when the player filled 2 of Damien's hearts. This was an event triggered by Teresa. Damien was an outstanding scholar from the beginning, and if not for Teresa's interference, he could have become the family's official guardian. Mimosa was furious, but she was powerless. Even if she were royalty or nobility, she had no right to interfere in another family's appointment of a guardian. After dealing with Mimosa, Jayu happily said to her sister, let's go, Libby. Night enveloped the space, and Jayu was already back at her dorm. Just then, a sudden knock came from outside. Jayu lit a candle and went out alone. Who would come at this hour? The person who appeared at the door greatly surprised Jayu. You know that visiting the girls' dormitory at this hour is against school rules, right? That person was none other than Damien. Damien could still smile and reply, I know, that's why I came avoiding prying eyes and ears. This answer made Jayu feel helpless. Of course you wouldn't get caught. You're an assassin after all. Damien came here for only one purpose. He said, I heard about what happened today. They said you chose me as your personal guardian. Is that true? Jayu replied with a sleepy expression, yes, it's a bit late, but if you're okay with it, I'll formally sign the agreement. For a commoner like Damien to become a follower of a prestigious family also means guaranteeing his quasi-noble status. After Jay's reply, Damien was silent for a moment. Immediately after, he smiled and accepted. I will become your guardian. Romantic Constellation sponsored 1,000 Sue. Why not just get married? Jay continued naturally. All right, I will inform my family. As soon as she finished speaking, Damien immediately knelt down. Then he planted a kiss on the back of her hand. His action confused Jae again. You haven't been formally appointed yet, this kind of thing. Damien looked up at Jae and asked, why? Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Damien's expression at this moment sent a chill down Jae's spine. How can an assassin smile so innocently? Having achieved his goal, Damien stood up. All right, I'm leaving now. Good night, Teresa. Damien left, and Jae still watched his back, many chaotic thoughts flooding her mind. If the warmth I felt from that smile wasn't just because of the light, could it just be my delusion? Stock Genius Constellation sponsored 1,000 Sue. Check this guy's affection level. It seems to be increasing rapidly. Jae immediately followed up. Something is definitely different. I need to check the affection level. As soon as the affection level bar opened, Jae was stunned. It had turned into a red heart. Just a while ago, it was clearly a black heart. This change is too fast. It's too exaggerated. This isn't a game, so Jae guessed that this is normal in this world. That guy really exists in this world. Jae needs their affection level to complete the game, but she doesn't want to develop feelings for the characters, because after the hidden ending, she plans to escape to paradise. Another day passed. The next morning, Jae came to school again and went straight to Professor Elijah's office. You're here. Professor Elijah asked with concern. Did you have any problems while doing it? Jayu smiled brightly and replied, for the parts one didn't understand, I learned to comprehend them by finding other books in the library. Hearing her say that, Elijah didn't ask anything more. Then he suddenly stood up, and Jayu had an ominous feeling. Sure enough, Elijah walked to the bookshelf again and picked another book. Read this one this time. Jayu took the book from Elijah with trembling hands. She thought in frustration, don't tell me he's making me read a new book again, and it's always like this. I like reading magic books, but spending time like this here feels quite burdensome. Elijah approached Jayu. He instructed kindly, don't stay up all night. Jayu didn't expect him to remember that she had stayed up all night. His expression was cold, and his tone seemed unfriendly, but for some reason, it felt considerate. Jayu smiled and replied, yes, Professor. Seeing her reaction, Elijah asked bluntly, why are you smiling? Jayu didn't even realize she had smiled at Elijah. She gently reached up to touch her own face. She answered awkwardly, because I'm happy. What makes you happy? With this continuous questioning, he was trying to make her let her guard down. Jayu thought for a moment, and after a while, she finally gave an answer. I'm happy because you're concerned about me. Elijah showed no expression upon hearing this, and Jayu immediately felt awkward. It was as if he was saying, when was I ever concerned about you? Afterward, Elijah changed the subject. I've submitted the application to join the student council. Thank you very much. I'm relieved. Maybe I've safely completed this mission. However, a week passed, and the student council still hadn't contacted her. The results should be out by now. Did someone oppose my joining? I'll have to go to the student council to sort this out. No sooner said than done. Jayu immediately found the student council office. She opened the door and looked around. Is no one here? Just then, a familiar voice rang out. It seems like any riffraff can just enter the student council office these days. She tells us we should keep our distance, yet we keep meeting like this. Clyde's way of speaking annoyed Jayu, but she still had to try to restrain herself. I created these guys, but the way they talk is really arrogant. As a BJ, Jayu still tried hard to act. She smiled and asked, I submitted my application to join the student council last week, and since I haven't received any notification, I came in person. Clyde picked up a piece of paper. Application to join? This thing? Just in time, your result has just been decided. That guy is holding her application. He burned it without hesitation. Clyde continued smugly. With my authority as the student council president, I officially reject Teresa Squire's entry into the student council. Jayu also quickly tried to salvage the situation. She quickly cast a spell. Oh, paper bearing my name, come to me in my call. Her magic actually worked. Not only was the paper not burned, but it also freed itself from Clyde's hand. Clyde was also surprised by this. Breaking a hex should be impossible. But if she completed the magic seal faster than Clyde, Jayu successfully retrieved the paper intact. Clyde seemed unable to believe it. He frowned uncomfortably. With the paper in her hand, Jayu was overjoyed. I did it. Jayu shouted happily, I did it. Not only that, but Jayu also excitedly ran over to show off to Clyde. Look here, I used this magic to summon back the burned application. Her actions made Clyde even angrier. He gritted his teeth. At this point, Jayu realized she had misspoken. She quickly backed away, while Clyde pressed forward. Are you crazy? Do you think I can't get a single piece of paper back from you just because of this? Jayu put on a pitiful expression again. Me joining the student council doesn't mean I'll cling to you. You're being too sensitive. I didn't want to join in the first place. Jayu continued to argue. If Miss Squire joins the student council, more people will be willing to be hired as mercenaries. Initially, the one involved was Libby, and she became a role model for the students. But now, the mission is more important. Just then, applause suddenly rang out, and a man walked in, praising impressive. Jayu immediately recognized the man as the principal of Valhalla and also Clyde's grandfather. He smiled and said, I didn't expect someone to succeed in persuading Clyde. I see you in a new light, Miss Teresa. This is Duke Noel Velo. Jayu quickly greeted him respectfully. Hello, Principal. He walked up to Jayu and said, Miss Teresa's magic level seems to be higher than what's on her report card. Jayu was both surprised and worried. How long has he been watching? He really is the principal of a magic academy, like a ghost. Perhaps it was thanks to the magic books Professor Elijah suggested she read additionally. Jayu had indeed read those books very carefully in her room for a week. Teresa's intelligence has increased by 1 level, reaching B rank. The principal announced loudly, if someone this talented joins the student council, it will help boost the council's confidence. With my authority as principal, I accept Miss Teresa's entry. Immediately, a system prompt popped up. Mission to join the student council has been completed. Reward, 100,000 su. Hearing him say that, Clyde shouted, Principal, what are you thinking? He was really impatient. He didn't like this. But the mission was complete, and Jayu quickly assured, I promise not to tarnish the student council's reputation. The principal replied happily, I look forward to it. The two chatted happily, tacitly ignoring Clyde. Having recruited Jayu, the principal was about to leave again. He instructed, get along well, don't fight. I'm leaving now. As soon as he finished speaking, the door closed. Clyde was very dissatisfied with this outcome. He gritted his teeth. The next second, harsh words came directly from Clyde's mouth. Your ignorance never ceases to amaze me, making me wonder if you're even human. Jayu wanted to ask who made him so grumpy, but she suddenly realized that person was her. Clyde still didn't want to stop, just because the principal praised her a few times and smiled. Do you really think he genuinely likes you? Clyde's words filled the chat channel with indignation. Who is that guy to say such vicious things to our girl? Of course, Jayu understood that what he said was true, because the Velo and Squire families were enemies, and the principal only let Teresa into the student council because he saw she had value to be used. Despite Clyde's harsh words, G still replied with a smile. That's right, if I were a little dumber, I wouldn't have been able to break your magic. Jayu actually chose to provoke Clyde again. After saying that, she observed his expression worriedly. Jayu felt guilty. Oh, I just provoked him. At this moment, the color of Clyde's eyes turned red. What did you mean by what you just said? Don't tell me. Just because you broke my magic once, you think you're someone important? Jayu hurriedly denied. No, of course not. I have a class. I'll be going now. Jayu was still smart. She had to retreat before her rebellious streak kicked in. Before leaving, she didn't forget to add one more thing. Let's get along well from now on. The door closed, leaving only Clyde in the room. The scene switches to outside the hall. All eyes were on Jayu. Jayu's expression turned grim at this point. Why is he following me? The students started discussing again. Why is Clyde following Teresa? It's usually Teresa who follows him. In just a moment, Jayu had attracted too much attention. At this rate, he's going to catch up, so Jayu hurriedly quickened her pace, and she bumped into Damien once again. Jayu staggered backward, thinking she was going to fall on her, but what she didn't expect was that two guys both wanted to catch her. This scene once again made the chat channel explode. The constellations were happy because multiple male leads appeared at the same time. The constellations are watching those two. The constellations are shouting, kiss. Jayu apologized in confusion. I didn't see you. Damien wasn't angry at all. He said with a smile, this is the third time we've bumped into each other. Sorry again. I was a bit careless. Damien immediately replied with a bright smile. No, it's okay, as long as you're not hurt. As expected, someone with a red heart has a completely different personality, like an angel. In contrast to that angelic personality was the devil Clyde, who spoke coldly. Can you stand properly now? Only then did Jayu notice him. She quickly turned and said, thank you for catching me. Clyde still stubbornly denied it. I didn't catch you. I blocked you so you wouldn't fall and get in my way. So you should say sorry, not thank you. His words were really arrogant, but if this was what he liked, Jayu had to go along with him. Sorry. The news quickly reached Damien, who immediately seized the opportunity to ask, Teresa, you joined the student council? Joining the student council will bring more achievements and benefits, and the scholarship is important anyway. As soon as Jayu finished speaking, Clyde snatched the application from her hand. Even if the principal let you in, you still have to submit the application, right? Clyde's action made Damien feel uncomfortable. 1 second he was glaring at Clyde. The next, Damien turned around and said enthusiastically to Jayu, that's great. Teresa, now we can see each other often. If we don't participate in club activities, threatening each other's lives together is also something to celebrate. But she still had to go along with Damien's words, that's right. With nothing else to do, Jayu also made an excuse to slip away. Class is starting soon. See you later, Damien. After Jayu left, Damien revealed his true colors. He smiled smugly. The student council, huh? Jayu's figure gradually receded, but when she looked back, Jayu saw Damien saying something. But what could it be? Jayu could only guess. He just said this will be fun. What does he mean by that? Jayu was already in Elijah's class. He introduced, we will begin the transfiguration class. Pick up the practice items. Despite being in class, Jayu couldn't concentrate because of what Damien had said earlier. He definitely said this will be fun, right? What does that mean? Elijah handed an item to each student and began the lecture. Today you will turn a flower into a butterfly. The first student to succeed will get extra credit. Jayu held a flower in her hand. The students practiced with their flowers one by one. As soon as one tried, the flower exploded. I think something's a little off, Professor. Only Jayu did nothing. She was still lost in thought. This doesn't look like the happy face of a friend joining the same club. More like he finds it annoying. Professor Elijah walked down to guide the students. Visualize the exact image. If you can't, no matter how much magic you use, there will be no result. After speaking, Elijah noticed Jayu's expression again. With just a little magic, the flower in Jayu's hand turned into a beautiful butterfly. Jayu was completely unaware that she had completed the experiment. She was just lost in thought. I don't know what will happen from now on, but if I sense signs of a bad ending, I should avoid it. It's too difficult. Professor Elijah had already noticed. He walked over. It seems you were spacing out in class, but you managed to turn it into a butterfly on your first try. Jayu tried to explain. As the professor said, when I visualized the exact image, I succeeded on the first try, so much so that I didn't even realize I had succeeded. Since when? Elijah didn't know what to ask after hearing that. Afterward, he explained again, that's right, a mage is someone who realizes their imagination. If you don't train your imagination well, it's useless no matter how much magic you have. The surrounding classmates whispered, Teresa really did it. She used to hate this field. Professor Elijah raised his hand and caught a small butterfly. He observed it slowly and instructed from now on, just work hard. In the following classes, Jayu performed exceptionally well, and she received a lot of praise from the professors. This potion is very well made. Other students could only make a mousy gray. Your movements today were flawless. You could be called the flower of the association room without a scratch. Faced with those compliments, Jayu also responded skillfully. Thanks to the professor's excellent solution, I'm starting to understand this class. Schemer Constellation sponsored 1,000 Sue. She's so good at sucking up. After class, on her way to the library, Jayu pondered again. I did it, and I didn't even have to put in any effort. If I were really good at flattery, I wouldn't have had such a hard time when I was Jayu. The door opened, and Jayu quickly walked in. As expected, the first floor library was comfortable because it had private reading rooms. Since no one was here now, Jayu could finally sit down comfortably. The classes went well, but why do I feel so suffocated today? At this moment, Jayu suddenly remembered Damien's words. If you're planning to run away from now on, you shouldn't choose a place like this. She'll be found soon. She imagined it herself and then startled herself. Jayu comforted herself, but this place will be fine. Damien doesn't use the first floor library. Immediately after, chaotic thoughts flooded her again. Is that really true? What if another developer who isn't me added another setting detail? If I haven't checked that setting, then what I know might be my intervention, which could change the story. Wherever I go, that place might not be safe. How will the male leads act when there's only one red heart? What did I do to increase their affection level? I don't know how stupid I am. I really thought I could live here like everyone else. I need to do something right away or no one will love me. I can't breathe. My body feels strange. I can't muster any strength. I want to escape from here. I want to get out. I want to get out. I want to leave here right now. This pressure exhausted Jayu, and at times she felt like she was falling into an abyss. A hand reached out and caught her. Oswald appeared again. He guided her gently, slowly. I've stopped time. You can't collapse, Miss Teresa. Jayu's tears still couldn't stop falling. Just when she felt most exhausted, Oswald brought her warmth. She asked herself, am I safe now? Oswald didn't smile this time. He said, this isn't fun at all. Afterward, he took Jayu to meet someone. Is it your BJ? Oswald gently held Jayu in his arms. Then he replied, that's right, Jane. He quickly took out a device and checked Jayu's health. Soon there was a conclusion. As expected, it's a symptom of transmigrating into a different body. She's very frustrated. Considering there's an error in her condition, this is still good. But I didn't expect her to be able to stop time. She could have made the chat channel more interesting. There are countless BJs who couldn't endure the symptoms of transmigration and ended up dying. Teresa is a BJ who keeps breaking records. Such a precious existence. I don't intend to let her become a failure. Oswald. He continued, this BJ's face has changed a lot compared to the first video. Although the appearance of the transmigrated body is influenced by the soul, it's rare for it to change this much. That's why I have high expectations. The more their appearance changes, the more excited I get about this BJ. Jane responded, that's a bit evil. Jane also had her own thoughts. If even Oswald, who is famous for pushing BJs to their limits, says so, then this broadcast must be extremely cruel. But this BJ's eyes, they sparkle with something. He had just reached out to touch her face when Oswald immediately held her and dodged to the side. He was still smiling, but there was a hint of a threat in his voice. Jane, that action violates professional principles. No one understood what happened, but Jang himself didn't seem to realize what he had done. Jang immediately apologized. I'm sorry. I didn't expect that even I would be attracted to Jayu. He reproached himself. That's just a human toy meant to please the constellations. Yet, I was momentarily bewitched. I was too careless in front of this guy. I heard he has so much sue, he could even buy a god. If anything went wrong, he would kill everyone, including the management team, and then apologize with money. Afterward, he continued to examine Jayu and gave his conclusion. The soul's distortion has been eliminated because the soul has now fully adapted to the body. The sudden trauma occurred without warning, but the transmigration error will not happen again. Oswald was very satisfied after hearing this. Very good, Jang. I've already transferred the money. Please check. As soon as he finished speaking, he left with Jayu. Jang didn't seem to care much about Oswald, that I took this job because the money was too good to refuse, but that damn personality of his is just getting worse and worse. But he had no choice but to leave. Well, I'm off. Oswald took Jayu to another place. Jayu hadn't woken up yet. He held her and confided. Those human pests smelled the scent and have all gathered around. How annoying. Teresa, perhaps ordinary people can't see it, but her soul is filled with starlight. The purer the constellation's emotions, the clearer that light becomes. It's so beautiful it makes me want to destroy it. It's truly a very beautiful sight. Oswald saw the soul within her. No wonder Jang was moved by this insignificant toy. Oswald's hand gently caressed Jayu's beautiful face, seeming to transfer warmth to her. Seeing her stir slightly, he didn't even dare to breathe. Her long hair cascaded down. Jayu actually snuggled into Oswald's embrace. His expression at this moment looked extremely perplexed. Immediately after, he quickly glanced at his watch. It's time to visit the other trees. But should I stay for another minute? I'll see you next time when you're awake. The scene shifts back to the Squire family mansion, where the letter sent by Jayu has been delivered into the hands of Duke Raoul. Donovan was also present. The Duke said, "It seems Teresa intends to have Damian West serve as her guardian mage." Donovan immediately chimed in, "Yes, that's right. It's a wise choice. He is the most outstanding among the mages sponsored by the Squire family, and some say he will become the next association president." Duke Raoul was still worried, but I thought his commoner background would make his relationship with Teresa worse. After hearing this, Donovan continued to report another matter. "Actually, I need to report that Miss Teresa has joined the student council." Duke Raoul couldn't maintain his composure and questioned loudly, "What did you say? She joined that association?" "Because of that damn Clyde. The student council is now controlled by the Willow family, who are a bunch of monsters and demon hunters. The eldest daughter of the Squire family joining the student council could, with the slightest misstep, make the Willow family seem superior to the Squire family. It's as if we're admitting to it." Duke Raoul helplessly held his forehead. Sigh. "I doubt Teresa has thought it through that far. Is that all for the report?" Donovan immediately continued. "There's one more thing. Her close friend have a request. They are asking for the family tailor to come over. It seems Miss Teresa's uniform needs alterations. Recently, she has started reading magic books with great focus, not even touching her snacks. They say she has lost a lot of weight." Duke Raoul was very surprised by this. This is truly unusual for Teresa. Just then, a knock came from outside the office. Libby happily pushed the door open and walked in. "Father, I'm home." He quickly walked over and asked Libby, "You're home early today. Is everything all right at school?" The girl quickly replied, "Of course. The classes are interesting, and I've made many friends." Duke Raoul paused after hearing this, then asked again, "Is your sister doing well? That guy named Clyde, or whatever, hasn't he disappeared yet? I don't know when she'll ever come to her senses." Libby answered hesitantly, "Father, I don't know my sister very well yet, but she's a good person." Her reaction surprised him. It was the first time she had spoken so decisively. She protected Teresa. Even I, her father, have never defended Teresa's reputation. But strangely, why do I feel satisfied? Then he went along with Libby's words, "All right, if you feel that way." But before he could finish, Giuseppe suddenly appeared and shouted, "She's a very bad person. If you knew what she did to Mother, You wouldn't say she's a good person. Libby immediately retorted, "Don't you think you've misspoken?" Giuseppe replied firmly, "That's right, you've definitely been deceived by her." Hearing these words, Duke Raoul was very embarrassed and immediately stopped the two of them. "If you two continue to be so disrespectful, I will not let it slide." After being reprimanded by his father, Giuseppe left angrily. Libby hurriedly chased after Giuseppe, shouting, "Wait." After that, she also left the Duke's room. After everyone had left, the Duke confided in Donovan again. "It's been a long time since I've heard the children quarrel. Miss Libby and young Master Giuseppe have always been on good terms," he said gloomily. "For two who were so close to argue over a Teresa who isn't even here, it's really—" He stopped abruptly here, then gave an order. "Prepare a donation. I'm making a trip to Valhalla." Donovan didn't act immediately, but asked again, "Master, is it really necessary?" Raoul explained, "His Majesty the Emperor has been pretending to be concerned about the strife between families and using it to pressure the Squire family. If we can take this opportunity to at least feign harmony, perhaps His Majesty will be more at ease with the children at the upcoming high society party." At Valhalla, every club holds a party to welcome new members, and the one for Clyde's future wife was no exception. Jayu was on her way when she unfortunately ran into the devil, Clyde. Jayu sighed to herself, having run into the most annoying guy again today. She told herself it was best to avoid him before a fight could break out. "Living in the dorms, I keep running into them. Should I move out of the dorms now? Since I have a lot of money now, I'm thinking of buying a mansion near the school and moving." But in this world, unmarried people can't live alone. Seeing that Jayu was ignoring him, Clyde angrily brushed past her, startling her. "What is he doing?" Jayu was very curious. "Did this guy brush past me on purpose?" Dopamine-addicted Constellation donated 1,000 sous. So childish. With Jayu's childish personality, she wasn't about to lose out. She quickly rushed forward. "You're challenging me, huh? You think I'll lose?" Jayu chased after him all the way, but she still couldn't catch up to Clyde. No matter how fast she walked, she couldn't reach him. The Constellations sent comments mocking Jayu. A person with limited brain capacity suddenly strides forward, initiating an unnecessary challenge. Jayu denied it awkwardly. "Who said we were having a challenge? I'm just on my way to the club party." The door happened to open just then. All eyes focused over there. As soon as they saw her, the girls ran over and cheered. "Teresa, you're finally here. The club room is amazing, and it's all thanks to our president, Teresa." Jayu also secretly admitted, "I heard the principal gave direct instructions to choose the best room." The fact that Clyde's fan club donated the most was persuasive, but in the end, it was to please his grandson's fan club. After Jayu arrived, the party quickly began. "Everyone, let's start the welcoming party. On such a historic day, we can't skip the president's address, right?" Everyone applauded for Teresa. The applause made Jayu want to find a hole to crawl into. There was another issue. "We haven't seen Romeo yet. She is often absent due to health problems, which might be a good thing for Jayu because of what she was about to say." Jayu quickly raised her voice. "Welcome, everyone, to the club. As members of the Clyde's Future Bride Club, we are required to set a better example than those damaged souls." Jayu wasn't trying to boost their morale, but the existence of an enemy helps both sides grow together. "If we want everyone to know that we are more refined ladies than Demisa, we should start by avoiding things that damage our reputation on campus. From now on, club members will behave like well-mannered ladies. Without a special reason, I will not chase after Clyde." These words from Jayu shocked all the girls. "Do you mean we shouldn't follow Clyde anymore? Stopping suddenly is too awkward. I think it's a necessary rule, and it also concerns Clyde's discomfort. What's more, it's a rule made by Teresa." With just a few words, everyone unanimously agreed that we firmly support this rule. I was going to support it anyway. Jayu was very satisfied with this result. The constellation born from Teresa's heart sent 1,000 sous. Our girl is truly born for the stage. Jayu was glad that no one refuted this. Just because they were in the club didn't mean everyone had to follow Clyde. As expected, the noble young ladies who were always uncomfortable with that kind of scene stood up and said, "I've said what I needed to say. Now let's enjoy the prepared desserts and have fun." After the speech, the girls began to disperse and enjoy the party. "Teresa, do you know what I brought for you today? This is from my father's collection. If we want him to live a long life, we should drink this. A 30-year-old Sangpichu. That's a very rare liquor. Other girls also ran over excitedly. I brought the champagne my grandfather said he would open on my younger brother's wedding day. I also brought the liquor my grandmother managed to get 50 years ago with great difficulty. Jayu could only feel helpless after hearing this. What a bunch of filial daughters. Romance novel-addicted Constellation donated 1,000 sous. Is this a romance novel? The girls highly respected Teresa. Since it's a rare liquor, the most knowledgeable Teresa in the Empire should drink it first. Jayu was startled. What? I can't drink. But how could this sentence erase Teresa's past of getting drunk? She's such a joker. With no other choice, Jayu had to accept the glass. But just a second later, Jayu was captivated by its aroma that I never thought liquor could smell this good. This was her first time drinking. Jayu took a small sip and exclaimed, "It's delicious." After hearing Jayu's review, the girl started drinking. I knew you'd like it. Drink up, drink up. We're not going home until we're drunk tonight. Soon, the night grew late, and Jayu was already dead drunk. One by one, the girls were picked up. "Miss, your family is here to pick you up. With such a low tolerance, why did you drink so much? You're really going to make your father worry." All the girls had parents to pick them up. Only Jayu had no one. Just then, a voice said, "Teresa, you're awake. I'll take you back to the dorm." Jayu thought she was dreaming. For so long, she had always thought no one would ever come for her. So Jayu replied immediately without even looking, "It's okay. I'll go back by myself. How drunk am I? My family won't come for me. I'm leaving. I can walk on my own." As soon as she finished speaking, Duke Raoul raised his voice and called out, "Teresa Squire." Jayu then opened her eyes and looked up. Even she hadn't expected the Duke to come. The atmosphere became surprisingly quiet. The Duke looked at her with an indescribable expression and then said, "Come with me." Jayu quickly stood up and followed him out. All the way, Jayu couldn't figure out why he was here. Raoul had never been to Valhalla before. The family discord was just part of the setting. She hadn't yet realized the changes in this world. Jayu just thought it was a setting error. But regardless, it felt really great to have someone come pick her up. Raoul noticed Jayu's silly grin. He turned back and asked, "What are you smiling about?" Jayu was so drunk she spoke without thinking. "Right now, you're my father, right?" She was Teresa now, and although adopted, Raoul had raised her like his own daughter. At that moment, Jayu suddenly grabbed Duke Raoul's hand. "Can I walk while holding my father's hand? I also want to just once be able to go home holding my father's hand." Duke Raoul fell silent. After that, he shook her hand off without hesitation. No matter which world it was, Jayu was always abandoned. But she still hoped, just for that one time. Just then, he suddenly spoke. "In that case, it will be a long walk to the dormitory." As soon as he finished speaking, Raoul crouched down in front of the girl. Then he said, "Get on." His actions stunned Jayu, but then she came to her senses and broke into a childlike smile. Jayu started chattering again. "My wish was to get a piggyback ride from my father." "How did you know, father?" The Duke replied gently, "I didn't know." "Are you heavy?" "Not at all." She rested her head on the Duke's shoulder. "Because he is like Duke Raoul, Teresa is also strong." In a daze, Jayu murmured, "Teresa is also like father." The Duke immediately denied it. "What nonsense are you spouting? I wasn't like you when I was young." "That's not true." For some reason, Raoul's voice was gentler than before. Jayu had truly become a small child pouring her heart out to her father. "Father, did you know? I've always been jealous of other children whose parents come to pick them up. That never happened to me. But today, father came, so I don't feel so pitiful today." These heartfelt words from Jayu made Raoul fall into deep thought. All the way, Jayu kept chattering in her father's ear. And now, this act helped her set a new record for the fastest to reach 1 million sous. Many new constellations joined the stream, and the channel's rank rose from silver to gold. Jayu had fallen asleep on the Duke's back at some point. When she woke up, she found herself lying on a soft bed. Jayu felt a headache as soon as she woke up. It was definitely a hangover. And no matter how high Teresa's alcohol tolerance is, she can't handle that much soju at once. And the flood of donations from the viewers is making my head hurt even more. Jayu couldn't remember anything she did yesterday, except for drinking. The viewer Hahabuz donated 10,000 sous. I get most excited when the BJ is like this. Jayu now noticed that the sous had increased. She had set the fastest record, and her channel ranking had also risen. She only understood this now. Jayu dreamed of collecting 1 billion sous. She quickly opened the stream settings. Channel name Villainess BJ, rank 99. Total donations 1,397,500 sous. Comments popped up again. "This stream is brighter than my future." Wow, look at this stream, shooting to a high rank right from the start. It's a crazy blue chip stock. Jayu read and analyzed the data. Developing and entering the top 100 seems pretty good. How high is rank? 99. A comment responded immediately after. Very high. There have been others who ranked and entered the top 100 before, but this is the first time one has entered the top 100 right from the get-go. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Come in. Eloise said happily, Miss, you're awake. This is for you. Please have it. It will make you feel better. Thank you. Jayu tried to recall what happened yesterday while eating breakfast, but the only thing she could remember was drinking 10 bottles of soju. Now that I think about it, how did I get back here? Eloise exclaimed, Oh, my lady, you don't remember? The head of the house brought you back. Raoul? No, my father? No, I don't remember where it started exactly, but he brought you back. He came to the school, made a large donation, and left this note for you when he left. I have appointed Damien West as your guardian mage. He is apparently an outstanding genius mage. However, due to his low status, the appointment ceremony will be waived to avoid gossip. Furthermore, a new training ground, library, and garden will soon be built in the name of the Squire family. A popular restaurant and coffee shop will also be open next month. The profits from the commercial section will be converted into scholarships for students in the names of the Squire and Willow families. This will be managed by the Squire Scholarship Foundation. Jayu couldn't believe what she had just read. Does this mean he entrusted that authority to me? He saw me drunk last night and still made this decision? Raoul despises people who lose their dignity. Jayu. She continued reading, I saw that you've lost a lot of weight today. Don't skip meals, take good care of yourself, and drink in moderation. Your father. Jayu was still very shocked. He's concerned about me? This kind of nagging isn't so bad. No, instead, it feels like my heart is filling up with soft bubbles. After breakfast, Jayu arrived at school. The girls ran over as soon as they saw her. Good morning, Teresa. Yesterday's party was really fun. Did you get home safely? Oh, by the way, Duke Squire carried you on his back all the way from Valhalla's main building, right? Jayu asked in confusion. Is that true? Yes, he looked so gentle. Honestly, I was jealous. Jayu still didn't understand. If it was the main building that connects to the front gate where people are constantly coming and going. He really did that, ignoring everyone's stares. Seeing Jayu's expression, the ladies cheered again. Oh, my Miss Teresa, you're blushing. Are you shy? Someone immediately retorted for Jayu. Impossible. Miss Teresa doesn't even know the meaning of shyness. She drank a lot yesterday, so she's probably not feeling well. Seeing that the situation was not good, Jayu planned to slip away. She feigned exhaustion and said it was nice seeing you all. Where are you going, Miss Teresa? You're running away because you're shy, right? Jayu continued walking towards the classroom. Mimosa suddenly appeared from behind and shouted, Teresa, how dare you join the student council behind my back? Isn't having Damien as your guardian mage enough? What more do you want? You'd better quit that place right now. It was said that the character Mimosa didn't join the association because she was too afraid of demons and monsters, which is why she wasn't told, but she found out anyway. Jayu blamed herself. I should have run to the library. Just then, an idea flashed through Jayu's mind. Without a word, Jayu turned and ran. Mimosa shouted angrily, I'm not finished. I said quit the student council immediately. As soon as she finished speaking, Elijah appeared out of nowhere. She immediately choked up. Hello, Professor Elijah. The Rodrigo royal family's ability to sense malice is outstanding, which is why Mimosa, who has royal blood, is instinctively afraid of Elijah. And our professor, as always, possessed the grace of a great demon. As soon as Jayu saw Elijah, she smiled fawningly. Hello, Professor Elijah. I read the book you recommended. Although she felt something was off, Jayu had no choice. Could I borrow another book? Elijah replied, follow me. And just like that, Jayu escaped again. See you next time, Mimosa. Jayu followed Elijah to his office again. After walking just a short distance, Jayu couldn't keep up. She panted and called out, Professor Elijah, I'm still not sober. Can we walk a little slower? Elijah actually used this to lecture Jayu. Endurance is a fundamental element for a mage. If you only study theory, monsters will eat you alive. Jayu was terrified. I'm sorry. Finally, the two arrived at the office. Come in. Elijah extended his hand toward Is he trying to escort me in? She actually placed her hand on Professor Elijah's. He asked with a still cold face, what are you doing? Are you going to? Return the book. Only then did Jayu realize her mistake. Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. Why did I do that? She flusteredly handed the book to Elijah, but her hand slipped. She dropped the book on the floor. Seeing Elijah bend down to pick it up, an extreme sense of fear rose in Jayu's heart. But he still showed no reaction. Oh, you have a question? A question? Oh, about the book, I do. Although Jayu was unsure if it was appropriate to ask a great demon this question, she decided to say it anyway. I have a question about magical creatures affected by demonic energy. I want to learn more about spells that can heal affected magical creatures. Professor Felix's books can help you. A comment popped up. Is he talking about the ideal type she mentioned in Oswald's interview? Elijah continued to ask, do you take his class? Now Jayu was in big trouble. Professor Felix Lockhart taught magical biology, and all the animals in this world hated Teresa. This was why Jayu was trying to prepare for the worst. Afterward, Jayu answered Elijah's question, no, I don't. I want to be prepared for the monsters I might encounter as a member of the student council. Just then, the office door was suddenly thrown open. Professor Felix bypassed Professor Elijah. Oh, you have a guest. Jayu quickly greeted him. Hello, Professor Felix. Another comment popped up. That guy who looks like a mad scientist is your ideal type? After seeing Felix in person, Jayu realized her mistake. Why was my reason so careless back then? Just from his appearance, it's hard to say he's anyone's type. Felix observed her for a moment, then suddenly said, interesting. According to my data, only Teresa Squire has dark brown hair and silver gray eyes. Felix poked Jayu's chubby cheeks. She said helplessly, I am Teresa. What is he doing? Seeing Professor Felix's disrespectful action, Elijah stopped him. Stop it. She is my student. Felix immediately defended himself. I didn't do anything. I was just confirming she wasn't a doppelganger monster. They say Teresa has a face like a cat affected by demonic energy, but now she looks more like a sick puppy. After hearing this, Jayu quickly explained, oh, that's because I had a few drinks at the club party. Felix continued excitedly, you see, the demonic energy is all gone. He was immediately corrected by Elijah, don't talk nonsense. Even so, Felix kept talking, my special honey tea is the best for curing hangovers. Honey from magical flowers has a very special effect, you know? You also know that the cosmetics you make with honey are also your main source of income. Felix panicked. How did you know? I didn't name the brand after myself. If you're asking how I know you're the owner of that factory, I guess it's because of the power of my social status. Felix was exposed. He pleaded tearfully, you'll keep his secret, right? I received death threats after releasing a limited edition product, all because the supply is very difficult to source. Of course, I won't tell anyone. Really? Then can you agree to put it in a contract? As the two talked, Elijah just stood quietly to the side, observing his colleagues' shameful morals. You really don't have to worry. In exchange, I'll just have a cup of your honey tea. Professor Elijah will be the witness, right? Professor Elijah agreed. With Elijah present, Felix was very relieved. He happily invited Jayu. All right, then come to my lab. I can give you 100 cups. Jayu also knew how to seize the opportunity. Can I also borrow books on how to treat magical creatures affected by demonic energy? Oh, wow. I didn't know you were interested in my class. Of course. If you want, you can also register for my course. The influence of nobles is strong at this school, so no one can say anything if you switch your major. Jayu followed Felix to the lab, and Elijah tagged along. She couldn't understand him. Soon, the three of them arrived at Felix's lab. Welcome to my lab. As soon as she stepped inside, Jayu felt a strange magical power. She looked around. The golden magical power was coming from the magical creatures. This is bad. Teresa has the worst compatibility with magical creatures. Jayu thought, looking at them in confusion. Just as she thought this, a magical creature suddenly pounced at Jayu. She backed away in terror. I'm going to die. However, no murder occurred. Not only did these creatures not hate her, they even liked her very much. Creatures big and small surrounded Jayu. What's going on? Felix hurried over. Oh my, are you alright? I forgot I had let these creatures out temporarily, but it's strange. Magical creatures are very intelligent. They don't usually rush at people like this. The small white creatures seemed to really like Jayu, licking her nonstop. Professor, can you take them somewhere else? The little ones also watch her intently. Felix was also quite surprised by this. Teresa. I think you might be a genius in the field of magical creatures. Jayu asked blankly me. Does Teresa have such a talent? Felix explained excitedly. Mages who can control magical creatures are extremely rare. You possess high-quality magical power and a compatible talent for them. Why don't you switch your major? Even though it's Professor Felix saying it, this is suspicious. Jayu asked further, how exactly can you tell? Even if I told you everything now, you probably wouldn't believe it. So why don't you try it yourself once? Jayu still trusted her memories. Impossible. Usually, magical creatures would bare their teeth as soon as Teresa got close. Will they really obey? Although she didn't know what the result would be, Jayu tried it anyway. She commanded them to sit, followed by the command to lie down. Lift your leg. They actually did as she said. Felix cheered ecstatically. Look, they listened to you even without magic as a reward. Even though your grades in elemental magic are terrible, you probably don't want to change your major, do you? Seeing Jayu seem to waver, a hand unexpectedly rested on her shoulder. The power of this person immediately put Felix on alert, and Elijah pushed Jayu behind him. The creatures were backing away, presumably sensing danger, as they were sensitive to demonic energy. Elijah didn't need to ask for Jayu's consent. He rejected the offer on her behalf outright. Teresa is my student. This must have been the highest level of affection Elijah could show with one red heart. Felix didn't give up either. Few people are good at elemental magic from the start, and most people like Clyde or me. Teresa is just a poor mage who chose the wrong major. Elijah immediately retorted, Teresa is just starting to get good at elemental magic. At this point, Felix came up with a crazy idea. How about a double major? Jayu refused, worried about the change in Elijah's affection level, and said in confusion, I appreciate your offer, but I'm already a junior. Felix still insisted. That would be such a waste. You're an extraordinary genius who has never even appeared in research papers. Elijah dissuaded him with just one sentence. Give it up. The creatures seemed to sense Jayu's refusal. They approached again, putting on a pitiful look. Then Jayu realized, these guys think I'm in danger. They think they need to help me. They must protect me. Felix stroked the magical creatures and continued. This is the first time I've seen them so active. They were previously contaminated by demonic energy and have only recently returned to normal. Their condition wasn't great until today, which worried me. But as soon as they saw you, they immediately became perfectly healthy. The bullet comments flew again. I'm not superstitious, but has anyone ever seen a streamer possess their own content experience and related things? The more sensitive the creature's setting, the more clearly it can feel the creator's purity and love. The more the creator loves that world, the more that world will accept the creator as a supreme being and treat them kindly. Jayu finally understood completely, so that's how it is. No wonder I felt our emotions were connected. I felt a connection between us, but I didn't think it was real. When magical creatures are contaminated by demonic energy, they are consumed by darkness. Their eyes glow red, and they turn into hideous monsters. Jayu was the one who created this painful setting, so how could they possibly like her? She felt very sorry about it. Jayu expressed her sincere apology to them. I'm sorry. Now she understood why Roll had left that nagging note. He was worried about me because he cared about me. Just then, Elijah spoke, interrupting Jayu's thoughts. Class is about to start. Let's go. Felix picked up a book and ran over. Wait, take this book you borrowed. You can return it any time, but the sooner the better. Jayu understood the character's psychology. He meant that he wanted her to come here again. Sunlight crept in through every window pane. Jayu's mood seemed much better now, and she was happy that she had successfully borrowed the book she wanted. Seeing her silly smile, Elijah asked again, Are you thinking of changing your major? Jayu was startled and replied, No, not at all. Magical creatures are very sensitive, and the flow of human magic power can't match them at all. They are powerful but difficult to control, so only a small number of people study them. That's why if you enter the field of magical creatures, you can gain fame and fortune. Your compatibility is very high. If you change your major, you will definitely show extraordinary talent. Jayu thought the same as Elijah. Maybe that's right, but I don't plan on becoming a great mage. So she replied, Professor Elijah, I'd rather have your approval. I'm finally starting to understand elemental magic, and the more I learn, the more interesting I find it. It's a field with endless potential. After hearing this, Elijah didn't try to persuade her anymore. I understand. This time, Elijah didn't walk as fast as before. He seemed to slow down his pace so she could keep up. Jayu was very happy about this, and then she suddenly realized he's adjusting his speed to match mine. Did his affection level increase? Jiyu's eyes lit up again. The affection level had actually increased by 1 red heart. The constellations were closely watching the change in affection level, and some of them had already started supporting the storyline with Elijah. Jayu was very surprised. The affection level is already this high? This speed is unbelievable. Even when I played as Libby, it took at least 20 personal meetings to reach 2 red hearts on hard mode. Did I do something decisive that filled Elijah's heart? She began to guess. Maybe it's because of the magical creatures. Originally, magic students lived in the celestial realm, but 100 years ago, due to a spatial rift caused by a great demon, the flora and fauna of the celestial realm fell to the human world. Because the magical energy of celestial beings is the most delicious food for magical creatures. When he was still an archangel, Elijah could easily control all magical creatures. Maybe it's the magical creatures, something he's more familiar with than anyone else, that are showing friendliness towards me. Seeing her keep looking at him, Elijah spoke up. Staring at someone silently is either an invitation or an insult. Neither seems appropriate for a student to do to a professor. Jayu was startled and, upon realizing, quickly made an excuse. That's because you look especially handsome today. Let's just go with basic flattery. My flattery used to work well on professors. Elijah smiled coldly. So, it's an invitation then. Jayu was stunned, speechless and blank. Even so, Elijah didn't let her off the hook. He responded to her with very bold words. After that, he walked into the classroom. Many constellations supported Elijah's storyline. Jayu was blushing furiously at this point. No way, this must be a joke. Soon after, the story of Duke Roll supporting the school and Teresa spread everywhere. People scrambled to discuss it. I heard the Squire family donated a lot of money. Does this mean they are improving their relationship with the Villain family? Damien was appointed as Teresa's guardian mage, and the Duke of Squire came to appoint him personally, right? Even if he's talented, he's still a commoner. And most importantly, Teresa joined the student council. The constellations rated Jayu as an unpredictable powerhouse star. Jayu didn't seem to like this. The high-profile rumors spread quickly, which was annoying because more unnecessary people approached her. Being the center of attention, Jayu rarely had any private time. At this moment, she managed to escape to a secluded place. No one will come here. Constellation searching for a mukbang BJ donated 10,000 so. Have you been eating a lot lately? Your skin has gotten better too. Jayu didn't deny it. Come to think of it, my appetite has returned and my headaches seem to have disappeared. I've been having frequent headaches lately, and I even fainted in the library last time. Who carried me to the sofa after that? I don't remember anything because I collapsed in a chair. The bullet comments buzzed. Maybe it's a symptom of transmigration. A lot of BJs have this symptom right after transmigrating, right? Jayu asked in surprise. So there are transmigration symptoms? Is that a possible symptom? Transmigrating as a villainess. It would be strange if I said there were no problems. When I'm stressed, I often hoard discarded items. Come to think of it, after applying, I isolated myself like that. Was that a transmigration symptom? Anyway, it's good that I'm fine now. As Jayu was sitting and resting, someone came looking for her, Senior Teresa. Renee Roth walked over carrying a large box and greeted her. The girl was not surprised when Jayu called her by name. How do you know my name? Renee Roth was a supporting character for Libby, a character her team had created. If cultivated properly, she could create alchemical items. She often appears in the abandoned annex. Come to think of it, this path leads to that area. Renee Roth asked in confusion, "May I pass?" Jayu looked at the girl, assessing her inwardly. She's very wary of me. Teresa was a crazy noble who couldn't tolerate a commoner passing in front of her. But this time it was Jayu, and she happily accepted. Of course you can. Where's Renee Roth going? The girl said in confusion, "I haven't eaten yet." Jayu wasn't surprised by this line, as her setting was that of a poor commoner. Jayu stood up and walked towards the girl. After that, she happily handed the food to Renee Roth. "Here, take it. It's a sandwich, but I haven't touched it. I've lost my appetite. Can you help me finish it?" Renee Roth took it in confusion. "Thank you, Senior." Just then, the girl unexpectedly noticed something. "Senior, are you interested in magical creatures?" Jayu replied, "A little." The problem of magical creatures being contaminated by bad energy is getting worse, and the damage to unprepared commoners is increasing. Hearing these words, Renee Roth's expression changed again. After that, she quickly continued to Jayu. Then, there's a book called Encyclopedia of Magical Plants with illustrations that can help with better understanding. She's really kind to Teresa. Although she's blunt, that character has a warm heart. Jayu replied with a bright smile. I should go borrow it from the library later. Thank you. Renee Roth said shyly, You're welcome. Jayu asked again, I heard the knights were dispatched to Pansy Village this time, the one where Damien lives. Yes, it will last for a month. Renee Roth said in surprise, I live in that village too. My mom was very happy to see the knights. It has become a village protected by the Squire family. Hearing this, Jayu felt very happy. Is this a roundabout way of thanking me for protecting the village? That girl is just like Professor Elijah, so uninteresting. Why are you smiling? Jayu said helplessly, more than that. It's because you're cute. Renee Roth blushed and hurried away. I'm leaving now. Go on, don't fall. After the girl left, Jayu continued to check the streaming channel. This time, the setting had dropped to 105th place. Jayu thought, did the ranking drop out of the top 100 again because I've just been streaming quietly these past few days? She began to think, you can't escape the trend forever. If the constellations lose interest in the streaming channel, who knows what that guy will do? But then Jayu comforted herself again. Don't be too stressed. After that, Jayu returned to the school. Today was the first meeting of the student council. As soon as she entered, Damien and Clyde were there. The scene was dead silent, which was frightening. Seeing the two of them, Jayu's expression changed slightly. There's so many seats, but I have to sit between Damien and Clyde. Seeing her, Damien spoke, Teresa, sit here. Even a game wouldn't force such a strange seating arrangement. The keyword love triangle appeared in the chat channel and was immediately shot down by Jayu. A love triangle? Clyde won't even look at me again. After she arrived, Clyde spoke. Let's start the meeting. The members began to discuss. Recently, magical creatures near the capital have been reported to be contaminated by poisonous gas, and people's fear is increasing. We should care about the families outside the noble protection zone. The protection zone should be expanded with more guards, just like how Senior Teresa sent knights to Pansy Village. Damien also spoke up that would expand the area indefinitely, and the Empire can't afford to fund all places indefinitely. Damien wasn't objecting, but he was protecting. Don't talk nonsense. A member turned to Jayu. Then why doesn't Miss Teresa help? The student council's tasks reflect the work of the Vylon family. Aren't you going to do it with all your heart, Senior? If you fund it in President Clyde's name, you can double the protection zone. We will share the credit and responsibility. Jayu also realized their hidden intention. If I were the real Teresa, I would want to be paired with Clyde. They dare to provoke a sleeping lion. As Jayu expected, Clyde stood up in anger and ordered that the members who just spoke will personally pay for the expansion an amount equivalent to the donation from the Squire Family Scholarship Organization. Those people immediately tasted the consequences. President, that's not fair. Equivalent to the Squire's donation. Well, that's a bit much. Clyde gave them no chance to argue and asked quietly, was your request fair? This question immediately made them feel awkward and speechless. Clyde's behavior was unusual. Why was he defending me? Just then, the system pushed a mission to Jayu. Embarrass the other party or no reward. Reward 500,000 so. Failure results in expulsion through the Squire family's political marriage conspiracy. The risk level was ridiculously absurd, but Jayu couldn't get expelled. She immediately carried out the mission. Jayu spoke up at this moment. That's right, Dorno. That was very reckless. Advocating for the expansion of the Squire's influence. This can be reported to His Majesty. The Valhalla Student Council is a quasi-military force that controls the descendants of great families, which makes it politically unstable. To survive, it needs public approval, so it pretends to support the Emperor on the surface. All meetings are recorded for the sake of royal authority. Besides, expanding the protection zone could be misunderstood. That is my family vying for the territory of Waleed. Everyone knows the territory of the Squire family, but touching the royal family will change everything. Touching the land ruled by His Majesty. His Majesty hates it most when his authority is challenged. One wrong move, and we'll become traitors. Dorno was made to feel very embarrassed. He quickly bowed his head and apologized. Please forgive me. I spoke unclearly. Jayu finally felt relieved. Now we can have a meeting without being disturbed. After dealing with Dorno, Jayu suddenly realized, wasn't that a bit out of character for Teresa? Just then, the door to the room was pushed open again, and a student rushed in shouting, "President Clyde, monsters just attacked Tuberosa Village, and more than 10 people have been injured." The principal ordered the student council to go and inspect. The student council quickly received the order and headed to Tuberosa Village. Of course, Jayu was indispensable. In just a moment, she spent all her reward money on a horse riding skill. On the way, Clyde questioned her again. "Why did you hesitate just now? This is an emergency." In reality, Jayu had to check the shop at that moment. A little while ago, Damien saw her not getting on her horse and ran over worriedly, asking, "What's wrong, Teresa?" In fact, she was just waiting for the horse riding skill to go on sale. She had never even ridden a bicycle. Questioned by Clyde, Jayu cursed angrily. Impatient jerk. But he didn't seem to hear clearly, so Jayu had to make an excuse. Sorry, I suddenly forgot how to ride a horse." He criticized her with harsh words again, truly incompetent. Damien was also secretly observing her expression. After that, he spoke up. "Teresa, tell me first next time, and I'll teach you." At this moment, she remembered Damien, who could have stopped Clyde from sending her. Before that, Clyde had sent Damien and Teresa to handle it with him, and Damien hadn't objected. Clyde could talk, but when he saw her chatting with Damien, he showed his displeasure, stopped chatting. The three of them finally arrived at the village. The village was engulfed in flames at this time that we're here. Jayu silently looked towards the village. The student. Council soon arrived at the temporary base in Tuberosa Village. Clyde quickly received a briefing on the village. Here's the map. 5 wolf beasts invaded. 1 was purified alive, and 1 was killed. Their corpses are contaminating the land, so we move them out of the camp. The monsters have a habit of attacking again, so we urgently contacted Valhalla. Clyde crossed his arms coldly and said, "His Majesty is also concerned about the increasing number of attacks. The Vylon family must intervene." "Thank you, Lord Clyde." Jayu also carefully observed the map. She suddenly had a question. Why isn't this area protected? There's no one there. We can't waste manpower on the beasts in that place. She quickly realized, surprisingly, there's no choice but the beasts invaded here because the script was written that way. If the player doesn't investigate important facilities, the wells and windmills will be destroyed and the villagers' lives will be devastated until they are rebuilt. Immediately after, without much thought, Jayu announced to everyone, "A pack of wolves here will cause huge losses." A guard immediately followed up, "Sorry, but we're short on manpower to guard the houses." The way she spoke made the person think she was talking nonsense, so Jayu decided to handle it herself. She suggested, "Then I'll scout this area." As soon as she finished speaking, 2 voices rang out, one from Damien, and the other from Clyde. Both wanted to stop her from doing it. "It's too dangerous. Don't be reckless." To make the male leads obey, she needed at least 2 red hearts. However, both were below that level. Jayu had only one way, which was to persuade them with reason. Jayu immediately improvised, "This isn't reckless." Damien hurriedly followed her. "Teresa, it's too risky to go alone." She quickly walked over to a slain monster and used her magic. "Oh, unclean life, be purified." Clyde's eyes widened in surprise. Jayu had proven it. I can use purification magic too. If they studied magical creatures, they would realize the secret in Jayu's spell. However, that little bit of magic alone wasn't enough to convince Clyde. The beasts have been attacking the same spot, but she's going to scout an unprepared area. What should I do? Jayu realized she was being pushed into a passive position. They've already decided where she's going to flee. It's impossible for me to lack a catalyst here. Even so, Jayu tried to offer her opinion. This area is near a farm that grows magical plants, and beasts often appear near those plants. This is basic common sense. You know that, right? Jayu successfully provoked Clyde again. He couldn't stop her anymore. If anything happens, send a magical message. As soon as he finished speaking, Clyde turned and left. That I understand. Okay, I'll send it before the beasts attack. I don't plan on fighting anyway, Jayu thought. As soon as Jayu entered the forest, she immediately encountered 2 beasts. How did things turn out like this? The beasts appeared earlier than expected. It would have been fine until the horse got spooked, threw her off, and ran away. She immediately sent a distress signal after falling and just needed to hold on for about 5 minutes. This was her first battle. Jayu thought of the worst-case scenario. She might die in a real fight. Oh, unclean life, be purified. The light quickly spread towards the 2 beasts. They roared, startling Jayu. Jayu felt her magic was too weak. She continued to repeat the spell countless times. "Oh, unclean life, be purified, be purified, be purified." Jayu kept repeating it until the chat channel exploded. "Stop, they're purified." Only then did she dare to look back. Jayu was also surprised by her own ability. "Since I used wide area purification, the power should have been weakened. Were they purified so easily?" The two beasts ran over and clung to Jayu like puppies. Just then, Jayu heard that familiar sound again. She glanced forward, and there was another pack. But this time, Jayu had combat experience. She quickly gathered all her strength. After that, she shot it straight at the pack of beasts. They scattered in terror. "Aren't you going to stand still?" The beasts fleeing wasn't in the script. I bet they don't like being unilaterally purified either. After Jayu dealt with the pack of beasts herself, the rescue team arrived. "We've found the young lady. The monsters are attacking her." Jayu was busy purifying the rest. "Oh, unclean life." Jayu was completely unharmed, which stunned everyone. Only Damien immediately rushed forward to help her. He used magic to stop the pack of beasts from escaping. "I've stopped them from running away. Now's the time." Jayu also attacked with all her might. "Be purified." The blinding light quickly spread over a wide area. The entire pack of monsters was purified by Jayu. She collapsed on the ground, exhausted. "They're all purified." Damien also arrived at this time and quickly helped her up. Damien asked worriedly, "Are you okay?" Jayu answered distractedly, "No, I think I'm going to die." Professor Elijah was right. Mages need stamina more than magical power. Damien looked at her and said, "You keep surprising me lately. Have magical creatures always been this obedient to you?" Damien knew best that couldn't be true. Jayu had overdone it. Before Jayu could speak, a guard continued, "This is more than just a matter of obedience. This is unprecedented. Purifying a monster contaminated with dark energy while it's still alive has a high failure rate, and it's difficult even for high-level mages." But the young lady did it with ease. He ran up to Jayu excitedly. "Could it be that there's an extraordinary ancestor in the Squire bloodline?" She replied coldly, "I don't believe they were all human." At this moment, Clyde also approached Jayu. Something unusual happened. The wolf pack was very wary of him. The magical creatures must have instinctively sensed that Clyde was half human, half demon. To them, a mixed-blood individual was a cursed being that shouldn't linger in this land. Looking at Clyde's expression, Jayu couldn't bear it. "We agreed to act like he doesn't exist, but how can I ignore such a gloomy face?" Jayu sighed and then walked towards Clyde. Jayu's voice rang out. "Did you need me for something?" Clyde stared at her blankly. "I need to write a report, so come with me." "Okay, just a moment." Before leaving, Jayu didn't forget to turn back and pat the little ones goodbye. "You guys go back to where you used to live." When a magical creature is purified, it resists dark energy and won't be contaminated again. But you should still be careful. They hugged her as if saying goodbye, and the sacred power of the magical creatures was spreading. That scene surprised everyone. "Look, the contaminated area has been purified." The guards cheered happily. The contaminated area is back to normal. It's all thanks to the young lady. Long live the young lady. Despite the praise, Jayu didn't like it. "I'm attracting unnecessary attention now." At least it's good news. In the future, because of the land's contamination, people lost their minds in anger. To quell the public's wrath, the royal family would execute a scapegoat. That's how the life of Teresa, the Empire's most notorious troublemaker, ended. As Jayu was contemplating the end of her life, Clyde unexpectedly extended his hand to her. "Stop spacing out and grab this." Without thinking, Jayu refused. "Why? I can walk on my own." Clyde immediately found the problem with her shoes. Only then did Jayu realize her situation. Her high heels were broken, probably from running on the barren land. But why would Clyde show such kindness when he still had a black heart? "Don't tell me this is a trap to test me." With that in mind, Jayu still wanted to save her own skin by refusing. "It's fine. You said you need to write a report, right? I'm fine like this. Let's go." Clyde showed an annoyed expression again. "Suit yourself." As soon as he finished speaking, he turned and walked away. Before she realized it, the whole village had come to watch. But everyone was looking at Jayu, which made her very curious. Come to think of it, exposing skin was taboo in the old days. Just then, Damien rushed over to remind her Teresa, at times like this, you should act according to your noble status and show some grace. The chat channel also warned, nobles never go barefoot, especially when there are guards around. Jayu finally understood the problem. She had no right to refuse. I have to tell you everything you need to do, which you should have done yourself. Jayu wrapped her arms around Damien's neck without hesitation. What are you doing? Carry me on your back. The constellations exploded. This is a total villainous noble. Damien picked her up in confusion. Lying in his arms, Jayu had the leisure to assess Damien's appearance. He's quite lean, but more muscular than I thought. His muscles are firm, too. How much does he have to work out to be like this? But his face is a little red. Is he very sick? The chat channel quickly reminded her. Check the affection level. Sure enough, the affection level had increased by another heart. At this moment, Damien spoke. Teresa, I'd appreciate it if you'd stop staring at me. Jayu didn't seem to pay attention to his words. She was only focused on the affection level. 2 red hearts, faster than I thought. If this keeps up, I might actually see an ending with someone. Of course, that's assuming I can avoid a bad ending. Clyde's black hearts increased from 2 to 3. If I accidentally run into the Emperor who hates the Squall family, the possibility of me dying a miserable death would skyrocket. But as long as I don't enter the Imperial Palace, the chances of meeting the Emperor are low, and I don't need to worry about accidentally bumping into that guy. Scene changes to the center of the royal capital, the Sun Palace. Your Majesty, Lord Gordon Willow of the Willow family requests an audience. Let him in. The ruler of this land, the master of the Sun Palace, His Great Majesty, the Emperor. This man is the second son of the Willow family, Gordon Willow. And sitting on the throne is none other than Emperor Yugis Rodrigo. I've heard that Miss Squall was quite active in her first student council meeting, wasn't she? Restoring land polluted by dark energy, something no mage has ever done, and the monsters listened to her as well. I thought the Squall family was finally going to fall because of their hopeless eldest daughter. But I have a question, Gordon. If Teresa has the ability to control monsters, Valhalla should have noticed long ago. Why didn't they? It's been over 100 years since the Squall family lost their visual magic. If a family loses the visual magic passed down through generations, they should have vanished into the annals of history, just like their predecessors. But Miss Squall was found to have the ability to control monsters. What's going on, Gordon? Gordon answered cautiously. It was very unexpected. In the aptitude test, the young lady clearly showed an incompatibility with monsters. But for some reason, she suddenly. The Emperor walked down the steps, interrupting Gordon. You know, I don't like lies. The Emperor's words struck fear into his heart. He hurriedly apologized. Please forgive my incompetence, Your Highness. Of course, Gordon, I value you greatly. I am deeply honored. The Emperor despises lies to an extreme degree. From the age of 5, Emperor Yugi spent his entire childhood being deceived by the Empress Dowager and high-ranking nobles, who even planned to replace him if necessary. But as soon as the Emperor came of age, he had everyone who had ever deceived him burned alive in front of a crowd. The Emperor commanded, Gordon, stand up. Afterward, he waved his hand, signaling for an item to be brought forward. Gordon asked in confusion, what is this? The Emperor quickly answered his question, an invitation to the Sun Palace for a student who has achieved something amazing at the Magic Academy. It's only natural that I meet her in person and offer my encouragement. Gordon was very confused. The Emperor wanted to see a young lady who wasn't even the family heir and an unmarried lady meeting an unmarried emperor. Is he trying to confirm something? Was Teresa going to be a fool, just as the Emperor desired, or would she become a troublesome variable? Gordon didn't dare to ask further. He respectfully complied. I will gladly deliver your will, Your Majesty. And his mission was to observe Teresa closely, so as to eliminate her if necessary. Scene cuts back to Valhalla Academy. Jayu went to school as usual, but something was wrong today. Someone from the Magic Association came looking for her. The president of the Magic Association, Milo, blocked Jiyu's path without any hesitation. How interesting, Miss Teresa. Jayu was clueless, but she still had to be polite. Hello, President Milo. Milo didn't beat around the bush. He got straight to the point. You purified the contamination with monsters. My association obviously needs someone with such talent. So we want to study your magic so that others can use it too. For the good of all humanity, would you be willing to cooperate with our research? The constellations are outraged by the crazy old man's plan to use her as a test subject. After hearing this, Jayu just wanted to curse. To hell with humanity, he just wants to research new magic. This was originally a trap set for Libby, accepting it would lead to an immediate game over. Fortunately, Jayu knew the consequences, so she was able to handle it. You say my magic has a special power. The aptitude test showed I have no magical attributes. And you say it's for the good of all humanity. Even though I may be plus, I recklessly joined the student council. Do I have to go even further and become a test subject for the Magic Association? As soon as Jayu finished speaking, an argument broke out. How dare you disrespect the noble sacrifice for humanity? But that senior is right. Why should a Valhalla student be chosen as a test subject for the Magic Association? A member following Milo shouted, Miss Teresa, can you take responsibility for your words? Are you unwilling to sacrifice for the Empire? Just then, Duke Raoul's voice unexpectedly came from behind. Those of you who were shouting about sacrifice of my daughter, shut your mouths and step forward right now. Jayu was very surprised by his appearance. Why was Raoul at the school? He walked forward and stood beside Jayu. Afterward, Raoul announced loudly, if you don't admit your mistake and kneel, I will make sure you never stand up again. The constellations were in an uproar even before Raoul appeared. At the same time, Raoul also reminded Jayu, Teresa, step back. She could feel he was getting angry, and that power was no joke. So Teresa's DNA really does come from Raoul. An indescribable feeling rose in her heart, but his presence is blocking my view. This feeling is a bit overprotective, but also reassuring. I thought Father had been infected by those familiar gazes, but maybe not. After instructing Jayu, Raoul started yelling furiously. To satisfy your selfish and evil desires, admit that you intentionally harmed my daughter. The men were bewildered and couldn't say anything. We were just. Fortunately, Milo remained calm. He stepped forward and said, You're crossing the line, Duke Raoul. Even if it's about your child, my association was merely asking the young lady to cooperate for the common good. To scorn our noble intentions is not to my liking. Jayu really wanted to curse right in this villain's face. President Milo is a magic experiment fanatic. A normal conversation is useless with him. Arguing is futile. After hearing this, Raoul no longer bothered to argue with him. Then we have nothing more to say. The Squall family considers this an insult to the family and declares a territorial war. Jayu didn't expect Raoul to go this far to protect Teresa. Duke Raoul's declaration caused a commotion among everyone. A territorial war. Jayu was also very surprised by Duke Raoul's words. Just then, the principal of Valhalla also arrived. You should reconsider your words, Duke Squall. The situation was getting more serious. Raoul immediately questioned, Squall does not tolerate insults. Duke Willow, you know very well who he is. Principal Willow was not to be outdone. He shouted angrily, Duke. The students around whispered. Now that I think about it, hasn't the Squall family never lost a territorial war? Even the Willow family lost in the last battle. The comment section blankly asked about the last territorial war. Jayu sighed and answered, it was the battle from 100 years ago. 100 years ago. The Squall and Willow families were supposed to be joined by marriage, but the eldest son of the Willow family, who was supposed to marry the Squall princess, eloped with his lover on the day of the wedding. The Squall princess immediately became a laughingstock. The head of the Squall family, in a fit of rage, declared a territorial war, and to punish the Willow family, he killed the head of the Willow family. In retaliation, the Willow family unexpectedly raided the Squall archives and burned all of Squall's secret magic spells that had been passed down for generations. Thus, the two families became mortal enemies. Raoul remained serious and said, if they dare to touch a single hair on my daughter's head, shouldn't they be prepared to disappear? The atmosphere was getting more and more oppressive. The girls greatly admired Jayu. Duke Squall is so cool. He'll do anything to protect Senior Teresa. Hearing this, Principal Willow could no longer continue the argument. Afterward, he bowed his head and apologized. I admit my mistake. The Academy should have protected Miss Teresa sooner, but our response was slow. Jayu was very surprised by his actions. They're backing down. They're being cautious because of the audience around them. Afterward, the principal turned to the president of the Magic Association, Milo, and said, today's matter was very hasty. Our school will sincerely apologize for this mistake through a formal letter. I may have gone too far today, Miss Teresa. Please believe I had no ill intentions. I was just admiring your special talent. Jayu found it ridiculous. He came all the way here this early in the morning just to satisfy the Magic Association's greed. Although the principal had apologized, Duke Raoul's anger had not subsided. Whoever dares to disrespect my daughter, I will remember their faces. You will pay for this, so be prepared. The people from the Magic Association wanted to apologize, but the Duke completely ignored them. Afterward, he called out softly, Teresa. Jayu was startled and looked at him. Duke Raoul took her hand and left resolutely. Along the way, Raoul did not let go of Jiyu's hand. How much longer are you going to hold my hand? Jayu then mustered the courage to say, Father, what brings you to Valhalla? He answered grimly, I heard about what happened yesterday. Purifying the land with monsters. I knew those old geezers from the Magic Association wouldn't leave you alone, just as I expected. If you had this ability, you should have told your father sooner. Being scolded by her father, Jayu was confused. I didn't know I had that ability, and I never expected it to cause such a stir. Raoul immediately explained to her, when it comes to demons, mages like us can always find a reason that trumps everything else. Without reason, status is just an empty shell. He instructed her with concern. Even if you are a princess, don't let your guard down, understand? Why are you so careless in a strange place? I didn't expect it to be so noisy. What does that mean? Raoul continued to lecture her. When I was your age, I was already married and had children. How can you be so ignorant of the world? As expected, all parents are the same. They all share a common attack method, which is using back in my day stories. Jayu didn't dare to talk back. She lowered her head and admitted her mistake. From now on, I will report to father first. Just then, footsteps were heard again. It's been a while, Duke Squall. Jayu was drawn by the voice and immediately glanced in that direction. That person is Gordon Willow, the principal's second son and Clyde's uncle. Jayu wondered why a character who was supposed to be in the Imperial Palace was at Valhalla. He stepped forward and announced, Teresa Squall, before receiving His Majesty's letter, please bow. While Jiyu's mind went blank, Raoul lost his composure and asked frantically, what a sudden announcement. Gordon immediately replied, this is a direct order from His Majesty. For protecting and rebuilding the village destroyed by demonic beasts, we praise her achievements, and thus we invite Miss Teresa Squall to the Sun Palace. Jayu only then realized with a shock that he had invited only her. Jayu had anticipated it, but she never thought it would actually happen. The invitation to the palace has been delivered. Jayu tried to calm herself down. Calm down. She looked around and realized the palace servants are watching me. My reaction will be reported to the emperor. If I make even the smallest mistake, I could be arrested before even entering the palace, and I could be executed. Fearing her end would be the same as the original Teresa's, Jayu could only accept the letter. I will follow the emperor's instructions. The constellations are full of anticipation for this meeting. Only Jayu didn't feel that way. To have an audience with the emperor, she had to at least learn advanced etiquette, which was the minimum requirement to enter the emperor's storyline. But her etiquette level was still only at intermediate. If she went to the palace like this, she could be executed for offending the emperor. Although Raoul didn't dare to defy the order, he did not welcome Gordon. He frowned and said, are you done? If you are, then leave. I don't think I can stand your father anymore. Gordon retorted coldly, I am merely carrying out the task given to me by His Majesty. Raoul lost control again, glaring at him. What fine excuse. Not only did Willow bring the Magic Association, but now they've involved the Imperial Palace. Seeing the situation was about to get out of hand, Jayu hurriedly said, young Lord Duke, could you give me a moment to speak with my father? She told herself, now, before things get worse, get Raoul somewhere else. Gordon granted her request. Immediately after, Jayu hurriedly pulled Raoul away. Let's go to the drawing room for a cup of tea. Scene change. In Jiyu's dorm room, 2 cups of hot tea were prepared. Raoul was creating countless layers of protection with magic. How many layers of protection magic are there? Is he doing this because he's afraid someone might overhear? After doing all this, Raoul finally said with relief, directly summoning a young, unmarried lady to the Sun Palace. Am I going crazy? It seems the Emperor has developed dementia at a young age. He seemed to be using some harsh words to talk about the Emperor. Afterward, he asked again, what does the invitation say? Jayu quickly opened the letter and read its contents. Having heard of Miss Squall's deeds in the battle to exterminate the demonic beasts, I wish to personally reward your efforts and invite you to the Sun Palace this Sunday. It looked like a normal invitation, elegantly written. The meaning is, if you don't come, you're dead. In any case, an invitation from the Emperor is sure to cause a stir. Maybe Raoul found it troublesome. After Jayu finished reading the letter, Raoul became worried about something else. The Emperor places great importance on etiquette. You must dress as respectably as possible. Go home before going to the palace. You need to pick out clothes to wear. In your dorm, you only have your school uniform or plain dresses, right? Raoul looked at his daughter gently. Jayu was very surprised that Raoul knew about this. She thought for a long time he must have been paying close attention to her situation in the past. But the thought was fleeting, and Jayu immediately suppressed it. No, maybe he's just worried my actions will damage the family's image. Afterward, she replied to her father, I'll go home with Libby on Friday. Thank you, father. Hearing this, Raoul was temporarily satisfied. Good, I'll be waiting for you, Teresa. Raoul then didn't forget to smile at Jayu. She pondered, can Raoul also smile so gently? A few days later, the day to go home arrived. Libby was chatting with her classmates. Libby, do you want to come over to my house this weekend? No, let's go play by the lake instead. When are you going to respond to my confession? Libby replied in confusion. I'm pretty sure I rejected you then. Haha, if you think about it again, you might feel differently. Just then, Jayu arrived. Seeing the young men surrounding Libby, Jayu could only stand outside and wait with a sigh. As expected, the female lead is loved by all, with ridiculous side stories everywhere. As soon as she saw Jayu, Libby looked like she had found her savior. Sister. Hearing that, the two male students turned around frantically. Senior Teresa. Libby shot toward Jayu like a bullet. I went through so much trouble to create this female lead, and now these minor characters dare to mess with her. Thinking this, Jayu immediately spoke up. Is there something you need with my sister? The two boys answered fearfully, no, sorry. Jayu is so famous that this was easy. After the two guys left, Jayu turned to her sister. Do you have a lot of guys like that chasing you? The girl answered naively. A lot of other classmates talk to me often too. Among them, is there anyone you like? Libby answered, surprised. No, why do you ask? It's so obvious. Now, maybe Libby doesn't necessarily have to fall for the male lead. Maybe she'll fall for someone else. But Libby said she hasn't met anyone like that yet. The two quickly got into the carriage and returned to the mansion. Along the way, Jayu kept asking, so what's your type? Type? Libby thought about it seriously and quickly gave an answer. Someone sincere, kind, and who always takes care of me. A sweet person. In Jiyu's subconscious, it was hard to find someone like that. Those three are all trash. But Libby said happily that she knew just the person. Jayu thought seriously, really? Who? There's no one like that among the male leads. Not a single one. They are all wolves in sheep's clothing, hiding their true nature. Libby looked at Jayu and smiled. Right in front of me. I like someone like you. I thought there would be a touching story, but Jayu looked worried instead. Libby's standards are too low. When I think back on my behavior in front of Libby, I only showed those times when I and my father were arguing and when I was fighting outside. Jayu then suddenly looked out the window. Giuseppe was being stopped by two classmates. The boy looked confused. Doesn't everyone know that Teresa hates her new family? Besides, you can't even use demonic beast purification magic. Giuseppe shouted angrily. Shut up. The people around didn't dare to intervene, just stood outside and gossiped. The young masters are fighting now. Oh my, isn't that the young master of the Squall family? The young masters continued to taunt Giuseppe with harsh words. When that young lady becomes the heir, you'll definitely be kicked out. They had crossed the boy's line. Giuseppe angrily used his magic. I told you to shut up. Just as Jayu was about to intervene, Jayu appeared in time and stopped him. All right, everyone cancel your magic now. Giuseppe's magic disappeared. As for the two young masters, they were already bound by Jiyu's focus. Now you can talk. The magic summoning system she recently developed was quite effective. Activating magic with short commands instead of specific sentences was much more efficient. Giuseppe was tied up, and he shouted very angrily, "What is the meaning of this? Let me go." Jayu refused. No, if I let you go, you might cause trouble again. Afterward, she walked up to the two young masters. Hello. The two boys seemed captivated by Jiyu's magic. Libby also ran over at this time, asking worriedly, Sister, what's wrong? When they saw Jayu, both of their eyes lit up. Wow, she has such an aura. This was the reaction of those kids, seeing two beautiful faces for the first time. Jayu pulled Giuseppe over and said, Are you friends with my brother, Giuseppe? Friends shouldn't fight. You should get along. I'll let you go, so be good. As soon as she finished speaking, Jayu snapped her fingers, dispelling the spell. Giuseppe also broke free. No matter how fiercely he reacted, Jayu remained very gentle. She took Giuseppe's hand. "Let's go," the boy questioned angrily. "You had a plan from the beginning." Jayu smiled friendly. "Why?" "I'm just holding my beloved brother's hand." Giuseppe shouted again. "Stop spouting nonsense. What are you plotting? Why are you doing this?" Jayu smiled and said, "Giuseppe, if we look like we're getting along, don't you think those kids behind us will watch their mouth from now on?" Giuseppe was still like a disobedient puppy. Even though his hand was still held by Jayu, he kept arguing, "What does that have to do with you? Do you think I'll support you as the heir just because you helped me a little? You'll never become the Duchess of Squall, you idiot." Jayu laughed. "Yeah, you're absolutely right. Do I look like I'm joking? I never wanted to be the Duchess in the first place." After hearing this, Giuseppe immediately pulled his hand away. "Then why were you so desperate to kick my mother and me out of the house?" His question also shocked Libby. "The past Teresa was indeed like that I don't know. I will never acknowledge you as family." Teresa had hurt her family. Although it wasn't Jayu who did it, this must be the burden she has to bear in Teresa's name. So Jayu took Giuseppe's hand again and said sincerely, "I'm sorry. It was hard for me to accept my stepmother and you at first. I had a feeling that I would become a lonely person. But from now on, no one can kick you and your mother out of the duchy, not even Libby. I promise you on my life." Jayu's words made Giuseppe blush. Even so, the boy was very stubborn. "I haven't forgiven you yet. Don't get the wrong idea." Afterward, the three of them continued home together. Giuseppe agreed to hold Jayu's hand, but he was still making excuses. "Those idiots are following us from behind. I'm just pretending to be friendly. Don't get the wrong idea." The next day, at the Squall mansion, many clothes were already prepared. Jayu asked blankly, "What are all these?" Lady Rosen stepped forward and answered gently, "I've called the staff from the shop to the mansion. You'll need clothes and jewelry to enter the Sun Palace. Finally, you don't have to wear that awful school uniform anymore and can wear proper clothes." Jayu refused. "I already have a lot of fabric, so I don't need to buy new ones." The comment section wanted her to accept. Jayu sighed. "It seems dress-up games have been popular since ancient times. All right, let's just treat this as a game." Eloise quickly helped Jayu pick out clothes. Meanwhile, Lady Rosen also stood by and observed. "Since you are the first young lady to be invited to the Sun Palace, you can't be too prepared. I just don't know if there are any clothes that meet your standards." A constellation donated internally. "I've never felt so threatened." The clothes weren't a problem for Jayu now, but the etiquette upgrade item wasn't in the shop's inventory yet. A moment later, the outfit was chosen. Lady Rosen and Eloise praised happily. "You look so beautiful as expected." With no other choice, Jayu had to go to the palace without system support. Soon, the carriage arrived in front of the Imperial Palace. The Emperor had also prepared many people to welcome her. Jayu carefully stepped down from the carriage. "I have to use all the knowledge I have to face the Emperor myself." The news of Jayu's visit was immediately relayed. "Your Majesty, Miss Teresa has arrived. She is about to enter now." The doors were slowly opened. The Emperor had also prepared meticulously for this meeting. "I've been waiting for you, Miss Teresa." Jayu was very nervous. Afterward, she quickly curtsied. "Greetings to the great ruler of the world, His Majesty the Emperor." The Emperor smiled with satisfaction. "Come in." It seems there are no problems with the greeting. Following behind the Emperor, Jayu also took the opportunity to check the character information. Then something unexpected happened. Emperor Yugi's favorability towards her was 4 black hearts. Black hearts are a warning the game gives to the player. 3 black hearts mean to be careful, as danger might arise. But from 4 onwards, its power changes. This is a stage where a single thought could lead to a bad ending. In other words, it wouldn't be strange to die any moment. That was the ultimate difficulty. The Emperor walked into the room, looked at Jayu, and said, "Now, have a seat, Miss Teresa." The Emperor started the conversation. "You give me a somewhat different impression compared to when I saw you at the summer festival last year. It is my honor to be remembered by you. How could I forget? The way you looked at me then was very passionate, miss." Jayu panicked. "That playful Teresa, why weren't you loyal to Clyde? When I look like I'm coveting the Empress's position, Yugi's favorability drops. And Yugi's bad ending isn't just for Teresa, but the destruction of the Squall family." Jayu quickly explained, "It wasn't just me at that time. All the young ladies were flustered. If we could have one dance with a majesty who is like a fairy tale prince, we would have nothing more to ask for. Else, prince? Don't say that. It sounds like you're mocking me. He's nothing like an emperor." So Jayu continued to explain, "Yes, When people think of His Majesty the Emperor, they imagine an old man with a long beard, not someone as young and handsome as Your Majesty. So you were attracted to me because I'm young and handsome? It's a feeling of admiration, completely unrelated to physical attraction. For someone who admires me so, you seem quite good at talking back. Even the game publisher couldn't stand the Emperor's words. Even so, Jayu had to improvise. I'm sorry. No need to apologize. Try the desserts that have been prepared. I prepared a recently popular dish, but I'm not sure if it suits your taste. Jayu took a careful bite. I'm truly grateful. My reaction is more normal than I thought. Jayu thought she could get through this safely, but just then, the Emperor suddenly broke his fork and threw it down. This tastes awful. When entertaining a distinguished guest who has made a great contribution, is this the best you can do? The servant there hurried forward to apologize. Please forgive us, Your Majesty. We will replace it with new food. Jayu's expression wasn't great at this moment either. I think I'm going to be sick. After scolding the servant, the Emperor stood up again. While waiting for them to serve the new dishes, he said, I should give you a personal tour of the Sun Palace. After a casual stroll, there's a party prepared for you. It would be my honor, Your Majesty. The moment her hand touched the Emperor's, he felt her fear. Trembling like this, I'm merely escorting a lady, yet you are so wary of me. It's truly saddening. Joey once again felt her strength being drained as if by a monster. Even so, Joey tried her best to remain calm, but that's not what I meant. The Emperor glared at Joey, then commanded, follow me. The two walked through the palace courtyard. I heard there was a commotion in Borlo recently. The Duke seemed quite furious. There was a misunderstanding at the time, but it has been resolved amicably. Let's just say that matter is unimportant for now, shall we? The lady must be looking forward to a reward for her contribution, right? Joey thought in confusion. Contribution? What contribution? The Emperor thought silently for a moment, then said, that's right. How about becoming a royal mage immediately? I will provide you with magical power and a personal assistant. I'm very grateful that you appreciate my abilities, but no need to finish. Emperor Eugeus already knew what she wanted to say. He grabbed her hand again. That you're going to refuse, aren't you? Then tell me, what is it that you want, my lady? This was not just about accepting a reward. It was clearly a test. Joey knew she couldn't ask for something too trivial or too extravagant. If I can't give the perfect answer, I will anger Eugeus. What should I ask for? Just then, the two servants following the Emperor hurried over. Startled, Joey looked back. One of them knelt and said quickly, forgive my interruption, Your Majesty. At this moment, Joey also noticed a detail. The servant had wrapped his shoes in cloth to muffle his footsteps, which meant the Emperor was in a terrible mood. The Emperor was furious. He glared and said, we were having a pleasant conversation, and you intend to interrupt me now? Joey was also worried. At this rate, the servant would surely die. Because she couldn't just watch someone die in front of her, Joey spoke up, Your Majesty, I have a wish. I would like to enter the royal garden. I wish to see the Icethorn Buttercup. The Icethorn Buttercup? Is there such a thing? The other servant immediately replied, yes, Your Majesty. It's the flower that is often placed in your chambers. Oh, that flower. That poisonous plant effectively numbs my senses, which are heightened due to my bloodline. Are you telling me now that you want to see that flower to appease my anger? Joey hurriedly denied it. That's not it. I said that because you seem to have a headache from that jarring sound. However, frequent use of painkillers is not good for your health. So, I hope you could visit the garden with me for a similar experience. A visit to the garden out of concern for my health. Is that the lady's reward? If it is effective, then Your Majesty will naturally look after me. Therefore, there is no greater reward than that. Lead the way. The two of them headed to the royal garden together. Indeed, when the lady said that, my heart did calm down a little. That's good. Just as she thought everything had calmed down. But the Emperor suddenly grabbed the same servant from before. He threw him into the garden without hesitation and commanded, to commend the lady's effort in soothing my heart, I will give you a chance. Go and pick that effective flower for me. The Icethorn Buttercup was a remedy for the Emperor, but a fatal poison to ordinary people. A common person without magical power would die within 5 minutes of contact. Joey cannot stand by and watch. She volunteered, Your Majesty, may I go and pick in his place? Upon hearing this, the Emperor turned to her. I didn't realize the lady had such a compassionate heart. Very well, let's do this. I will ask you a question. If I am satisfied with the answer, I will spare that servant. But if I am not satisfied, then the lady must kill that servant with her own hands. Do you accept this wager?